Hello everybody and welcome back to the KCM. Sorry we're late here. It's now Sunday the 14th and we're getting into KCM. We've got ASL all this week as well. But a lot has been going on, hasn't it, Shun?
Yeah, actually, Sam, before we get fully started today, I want to make a bit of a statement for you guys. If you don't want to hear it, feel free to skip ahead a minute to the action, but basically one of you guys retracted support from us with the reason that Saiyan expressed sadness over the death of a human being that was assassinated in front of his family in a crowd of thousands at a university campus while ironically speaking about school shootings. I'm sure most of you guys have come to know me as a bit over the years, as well as saying as someone who wears my heart on my sleeve, and even when casting, just say what comes to my mind and call it how it is. Personally, I have no desire to support the political right or left. I see them as two sides of the same coin, keeping us divided, ensuring that we're looking left and right, and we're never looking up at the real issues and puppet masters. Regardless of your affiliations, beliefs, culture, or views, no one deserves to be publicly executed, especially without due process first. Just because you hate the speech of others doesn't make it hate speech. We are all humans that have the right to have empathy for one another. If you don't believe we have the right to feel sad when another human being is brutally struck down for exercising free speech, please don't support us and shame on you.
Well said, Shun. We don't really like to be political guys. Basically, if you're not caught up, I said rest in peace to Charlie Kirk, and received quite a bit of backlash. We even had some people leave the Patreon, but that's fine. It's just a bit of a sad reality that we're in right now, where we can't even talk to each other because of fear of reprisal in many different ways, and we're not really interested in talking about this too much more. Just wanted to mention that, and Shun wanted to say something, so I appreciate you, Shun. Thank you for saying something about it. And we're gonna go ahead and just enjoy these games now. That's why we're here. We want to enjoy Broodwar, and this is our escape. This is our escape from all the craziness of life and of politics and all that. And so we just want to be here and enjoy this beautiful game, and regardless of what you guys think or your political position or your background, we're really glad that you're here and that you're one of our Broodwar brothers. So thank you for watching and for enjoying our cast. So with that, we're getting into this one. We've got YSC over here in the top left-hand corner, Light up in the top right, and the lineup here today. Shun is extremely good. We've even got Sulky here. So
I'm hoping he's going to redeem himself a little bit, as well as Hero, by the way. Both of these guys may be looking to redeem themselves in their fans' eyes after maybe not the best of performances lately. We'll have to see. Also, yeah, I mean, YSC's been performing pretty good as of late, especially in these online matches. Curious to see how he will line up against Light. Light's gone for a very standard 12 gas 229 factory, trying to take his expansion without making that many Marines, actually. I'm not sure he expected this early Zealot out of YSC, so he's having to pull a few additional SCVs off the line to body block and try and establish that bunker at long last. This is the problem, is that if you allow this Zealot to do too much damage and delay this bunker too much, suddenly the Dragoon comes in and causes a little bit of a nightmare for you. Seems like he's just barely maybe going to get this bunker in time. He has got a few additional SCVs. If it does get sniped, he targets down one of the Marines. Vulture as well, doing a lot of heavy lifting, does manage to kill that Zealot and allow the Marines into that bunker. A little bit of a mini game there in the early stages with YSC trying to apply the pressure and punish Light. Light did stabilize, but he had to pull extra SCVs to do so.
Oh, this Vulture might just get caught. Almost manages to body block that. Oh, one more hit. He would have taken out that first Vulture. It's so important to keep that alive, and Light's gonna have to be super careful running around the bottom side of this map. He really needs to find a spot where YSC is not going to find that Vulture, so he can slip over towards that center left, try to get a mine, but he's going to be very conservative with this Vulture from now on, with only one hit left on that.
Yeah, you don't want to lose that before laying down mines, especially. So he's hiding in the very corner of the map. Hopefully nothing would ever find that. I'm pretty sure it will eventually give him some value when the mines are online. But yeah, I mean, it's a little bit painful to take this kind of damage. It'll take a little bit of a repair bill here on the bunker, but not much at all. Tank's already out to ward away those Dragoons. And I don't know, man. I'd actually kind of like Light's position. Like, I don't necessarily feel like YSC got the damage done that he would like to with that fast Zealot. He did pull additional SCVs to defend it, but I'm actually liking Light's position a lot, just because of how quick this command center was relative to the nexus of YSC. Like, he's mining in this natural, and YSC isn't even finished yet.
Light is setting himself up for a longer game as well, getting this armory going early. We'll see what he wants to pair that with. Actually, we saw an eBay in there, didn't we, Shun? So, yeah, there's the turret. So, eBay plus the armory is a very strong way to play. It's a very defensive opener. You're not going to really be able to push here early without having some scans to at least identify what's coming out from the Protoss player. You kind of need that vision hack to be able to see what Protoss is doing, to see if it's safe to actually push out, because every single push is so dangerous.
Oh yeah. I like this play from Light, by the way. He had the barracks floating over the turret in the natural just for a few seconds in case there was a very fast DT timing coming out from YSC, so that he could just, you know, hover that over the turret so the DT couldn't target it down or anything like that. With, like, sometimes you'll run in with like a Dragoon and a Zealot and try and snipe the turret for the DT to run by. But he's also just a few seconds after that floating it over to his natural to spot the incoming shuttle timing. So I love how Light's kind of got this mapped out where you can kind of defend against two timings, the very fast DT timing, and then have this scouting for the shuttle coming in as well.
Looks like there is going to be that shuttle pressure. Reaver gonna come in here, try to get some damage. Why is he not the greatest Reaver player? Definitely leaves something to be desired, and we've seen him lose plenty of shuttles just flying into turrets or making small errors when the pressure is on. Definitely going to be feeling some pressure here going up against Light, who is well regarded as one of the greatest Terran players of all time.
Yeah, no, Light is like considered daddy Terran at the moment. Like, a lot of these guys look up to him, even though he's not necessarily winning as many games as some of the other Terran players occasionally. He's very highly respected in the scene, and people go to him for a lot of advice and mentorship, especially barracks. He's a student of Light. It's a little bit annoying that Light's not really got much of a map presence though. Like, look at the mini-map, not a single nothing. There's nothing out on the map here for Light, and he's going to go into five factories, so he's going to have enough meat on the bone later in the mid-game, but for the time being, he's going to predominantly have to rely on these scans to identify what's going on, and he hasn't got a lot of information to work with. He does see the gateway count, so he can kind of be sure of what he's up against. He's the Citadel timing as well. With these Goliaths, should be able to avoid taking too much damage in the main base. Flash used to play a lot like this back in the day, predominantly using Goliaths as like mobile turret platforms rather than making too many of them, so that he could optimize his minerals and gas as much as possible. And Light's kind of doing that here, trying to cut a few corners to compound that economic lead even more. So even though he's not got any map presence right this second, he's going to explode out onto the map in the next few minutes.
That's a very smart way to play, generally just putting some turrets at the edges of the base and then having the Goliaths control the anti-air down around the middle. Oh my goodness. YSC, he hasn't noticed this. How long is this going to take for YSC to pick up on all these probes not mining? His natural was much later than Light, so he needs this income. Oh my gosh, I'm watching for his screen here, and he's just not moving it over this third base. Oh man, this is almost as bad as just flying your shuttle right into some turrets. This is really rough for YSC.
Yeah, he still hasn't noticed. Oh my gosh. That's really painful. That's a lot of probes that could be mining right now. Okay, he finally now notices. That's got to be a bit of a head tilter for sure, man. I mean, that's a lot of lost mining there. That's going to really make it even harder to stack up against what Light's got cooking for him as well. Light even putting down some mines in the back of his base just in case there was a dive with a shuttle in there from a different angle that his Goliaths aren't covering. And he's going to very quickly establish this third base. This is a bit of a defensive 5 factory, just getting a lot of units that he can easily shove down and take this expansion without much of a challenge from YSC being able to stop him.
He's going to be shoving out here, and this is a very strong army with 4 Goliaths. 2-shot potential on that shuttle. Has to be super careful. Especially when you've only got the 1 shuttle. It's so much easier to target down the 1 shuttle than if you've got 2. Then you kind of have to make a choice, decide which one you're going to go off, or which one you're going to try and gun down as the attack is coming in. But with just 1 shuttle, you can easily target that down. He has to be extremely careful with that very, very precious unit. Third base is floating out here. This is the moment. Can YSC get in here and get some damage? So far, it's not going well.
No, I mean, it's just expertly executed there from Light. Loads of scans, taking out all of the observers, making it... Actually, I think there's 1 left, but he took out all of the observers initially and made it really hard for YSC to size up the movements of the Terran and know how to best challenge them. Sometimes the observers don't just show you where the mines are, they tell you how you should engage the Terran and exploit when they unsiege tanks and what have you. Seems like Light's done a masterful job of taking this third base undeterred, and he's going for a very modern Terran style. You know, you go 5 factory into 3 base, so you're pretty safe in doing so, and then you quickly go up to like 7 or 8 factories and just start powering on 3 bases. You're a little bit slow in the upgrade timings, but it doesn't really matter as long as you've got so many units for the Protoss to contend with. And I think Light is going to maybe run away with this game at this rate. We have got a fast 4th base from YSC to try and compensate. But I don't know if it's going to be enough. I mean, Light's going to be powering really heavily off these 3 bases.
Yeah, he's done a great job here of front-loading his production, getting the facilities, the factories up as the 4th base was coming online. And so he is completely ready. The moment that this income starts to flood in, he's already got those facilities up and running, and he can just keep slamming out vultures and tanks. His army is looking near impossible to stop. And look, this Reaper may end up going down. I mean, yeah, this shuttle has not got a lot of acceleration on it. Can he actually gun down that shuttle? Not quite able to get in range. Goliath's getting a little bit blocked there by the tanks, but Light's already made a big move here towards the center. Some of these tanks are very stacked, Shun. Is it possible there's some storm in here that can actually rip apart this army?
Well, maybe, but he doesn't have shuttle speed just yet, so I actually think it's going to be really hard for him to get those shuttles to execute the kind of like Zealot bomb that's necessary to devastate that tank line. If he had shuttle speed, I would say it's certainly possible. Best would be able to find a way of dismantling that tank army. But YSC, he's running with his tail between his legs a little bit, wanting to avoid a direct confrontation with this main battle force of Light, and rightfully so. It's definitely a scary army right now, shuffling itself into better firing positions towards that rally point. Maybe he'll be able to rotate around and knock out the natural 3rd as well while doing this. But for the time being, YSC does not want a direct fight with this army. There's just a little bit too much. He's running around and trying to circumnavigate disaster, maybe hitting this 3 o'clock position with a small contingency. Light's already mining that flank up though, so he's thinking about that.
Yeah, and I mean, he's given him a ton of time here to spread all the tanks. That really tight formation of tanks we saw earlier is no more. It's not here anymore. There are quite a bit of vultures on top of each other. That's a pretty good storm. Get another good storm here, but nowhere near the stacks of tanks that we saw in the middle of the map with the first push out. And unfortunately, YSC just wasn't ready to take that engage. Now that everything's spread, it's going to be so much harder.
Yeah, I mean, this is just looking brutal from Light right now. I don't even know how YSC is going to contend with this. He does have that shuttle speed at long last, but can he dislodge this Terran that's so heavily entrenched? Most of the tanks are spread out, so he's not getting those 2-for-1 deals at the supermarket at the moment. And he needs all the value that he can get, especially with some of the mishaps that happened earlier on in the game. And there's just so many vultures to clean up the zealots as well. He's going to finally try and dive on some of these tanks with some of these speed shuttles. I'm not sure that these tanks are exposed enough to exploit. He's going to get like a couple of them on the periphery to delay damage onto that natural third, but Light is churning away with his production, just hammering out units and almost eclipsing the supply of YSC while doing so. YSC doing a bit of a good move here, shutting down this 4th base from going online at the 12 o'clock location while establishing his own 5th in the bottom left pocket. Can Light, though, put enough pressure onto him? He's going to force a trade. 2 shuttles starting to bomb now. There are some High Templar support. Not the bestest of storms, though. I feel like Light is going to start running away with this game now, Sam.
Position is just a little bit too good here on the high ground, right outside of the natural. YSC just did not have everything together at the right time here to stop Light. This powerful push is now nigh unstoppable. There should be a +2 upgrade coming along here for Light as well. If he's hitting all of his upgrades while just maxing out continuously, it's going to be, again, impossible to stop this push. And now catching some probes down here in the bottom left-hand corner as well. Observers will make their way down to the bottom left with these Dragoons, clearing out some of the mines, but the damage has been done. The probes are mostly dead here. A huge transfer of probes. Oh my goodness. That must be all the probes from the main base at the very least. Maybe some from the natural as well. He's sending them all down here to bottom left, and Light is chasing them down, heading down towards this bottom left. Actually, he's turning to possibly take out this force of Dragoons here at the center right. Storms at the 12 o'clock getting some damage there, but YSC is not able to contend with this army head on.
No, I mean, these Dragoons getting caught at the 3 o'clock is so painful. So this is only good for the Protoss if they're distracting them and getting something done elsewhere, but he's not even killing that command center at the 12 o'clock. And Light is catching up on upgrades. Like, he committed it very heavily into his production and economy early on, but now he's playing catch up, getting science vessels, as well as those, most importantly, the weapons upgrades for this Terran metal. And the longer this game goes on, the worse it's going to get for YSC. It's great that YSC's got this base in the bottom left that's going to keep him in the game for the time being. Like, there is a world in which YSC can mount a comeback, but he's also kind of relying on Light being caught out of position here or fumbling the ball in the middle of the map and not sieging his tanks in time, or having them too clumped up against storms and zealot bombs and what have you. As long as Light just executes appropriately from here, it's going to be so hard for YSC to surmount this.
Bit of a probe transfer in a dangerous spot. It will fly through. Good target fire onto these shuttles. One storm here in the middle. That's a lot of stacked tanks right now, Shun. Ooh, great storm there on the front line. Zealots try to run forward here, but they're just absolutely obliterated. More storms here. This is kind of what YSC needs, but he needs more of it. Light just running headfirst into mines. It's great, but there's still so many tanks back here. 2-2 is now done.
Yeah, not only that, but Light's actually storm dodging a bit as well, so these tanks aren't as softened up as they should be. Nonetheless, some follow-up storms could help hold the line, but I don't know. Wait, what? What is what is Light saying? Right, I don't know what Light is saying right now, but he typed something. I'm not even sure if that was intentional. Maybe he accidentally typed something. I don't know, guys. That's a bit of a weird one. We've not seen that happen before. But I mean, this army is just crazy. He's eclipsed YSC in supply. There's no counterplay from YSC right now. Like, at this point in the game, you should be like storm dropping the expansions of the Terran, but if he does that, he has nothing to stop Light from just executing the Terran 101 game plan, just containing the rally point here and then splitting off a few tanks to start knocking down expansions elsewhere. There is not much YSC has to respond to this. Just one last Hail Mary push out from his rally point, it looks like, to try and see if he can get some of these tanks killed to reset that count and have a chance of fighting back in this game. But even if he does somehow squash this contain, which it looks like he might be able to, look at the supply differential right now. He is in so much trouble.
Well, those are some great mine connections, but at this point, he needs a lot more than that. I wonder if Light's just so in the zone right now, or so relaxed that he's perhaps forgotten that he was playing in a tournament right now. Thinking that he's playing on ladder or something like that. He's just going through the motions right now, just pushing back the Protoss player, hitting his macro, and looking for the closer here against a player that he's certainly outdone.
Yeah, no, he's really outclassed YSC in this game, and sometimes we do see YSC punching above his weight and handling himself well against these, you know, more highly respected players in the scene. Not this time, it seems. Just Light performing at his usual high level of caliber play and just schooling YSC at this moment. He's completely flanking and surrounding the armies of YSC. There's almost no counter play available to the Protoss at this point in the game. Yes, those tanks are all nice and clumped up, but it doesn't really matter. There's nothing to be leveraged against them. GG is finally called, and Terran picking up a quick win in this week already by eliminating one of those Protoss players, YSC.
All right, game number 2, Soma is going to come out first. Finally, hey, it's about time. Soma going to be put on the front end of this lineup. I love to see it. He's over here at the top left-hand corner, and Light over at center right. The best spawn on this map for Terran.
Yeah, this is looking pretty good for Light. Soma, though, I mean, he's been on a bit of a tear as of late. He came back to the scene in a big way. I remember even when he first got back to the scene, he was playing games against Flash and running rings around him. I mean, I've never seen Flash that flustered before, but he was really taking Flash down with very strong two-base timing attacks and Ling flanks and keeping Flash guessing non-stop and refusing to play orthodox as well. Like, Soma's one of these guys that always thinks a little bit outside of the box, so likes to be a bit hyper-aggressive at times and really puts the pressure on you.
He certainly is. Has the reputation for being just a macro god, but he's a little bit more than that. He has the ability to pull out all kinds of different technical builds.
Yeah.
And one of the best players when it comes to Wraith control as well, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, like, both of these guys on screen right now are deadly weapons in the scene, so I'm actually kind of excited about how this match is going to pan out, say, and especially when there's not really much to be exploited in the way of position or advantage. I mean, the only thing really going for Soma here is that he's got a direct path into the main base from these angles, but it's actually the best case scenario for the Terran to get this 3 o'clock spot, as we were just saying. And yeah, if, like, say Terran got this top left, like, the gas is really on the wide side, so you can't really cover everything with turrets, but bottom left's even worse because they got this dead zone pocket they can keep exploiting. But as it stands, I think we're going to have a really cool game.
Absolutely. We're going to get to see these two go head-to-head ahead of the ASL. They could end up meeting each other. It is possible. We could end up seeing like a round of 8, round of 4, even a semi-final between Soma and Light this season, which would be amazing.
Oh yeah, I would love to see that. I'm sure the round of 8 in ASL is going to be absolutely nuts, saying. I'm like almost feeling giddy just thinking about it. I'm going to be having a hard time sleeping the nights before those games, that's for sure. Already, if you guys haven't yet seen it, please go and watch the ASL. This season somehow was even more insane than the last season. I didn't even think it was possible, but it has come to pass. I'm not going to say too much about the results of that, just in case there's a few of you guys sleeping on it for the time being. Please go and check out the ASL, guys. It's wild.
Yeah, we're going to be casting the live clean stream of the ASL tomorrow and the next day. That's going to be at 7 p.m. Korean Standard Time, so do not miss out on that. the groups so far have been great, and we're looking forward to some more awesome matches. And there's just so many there's so many matches I'm hyped for, Shun. There's so many great players right now, and these two on screen right now are some of those players I'm super excited, especially Soma. I mean, Light's been in the scene for recently. He's been doing pretty well, going deep in the ASL every season, but Soma just came back. We cannot wait to see what he can do.
Oh yeah, I mean, we were kind of like annoyed that we didn't get to see more from him in previous weeks of KCM, when players like Jadon were dominating so much. I mean, he never really got a chance to showcase what he can do. So yeah, just seeing more from this guy is a real treat, especially in this week of KCM as well as the ASL soon, I'm sure. So many great players left in that tournament, and pretty much everyone in the round of 16 deserved to be there, and with really strong contenders going forward. I can't even imagine what the round of 8 and beyond is going to look. This could be one of the best ASL tournaments of all time.
Absolutely. So looking at these builds here, we've got a 4 racks plus 1 coming out of Light. Pretty standard stuff from him. This is kind of how he's been playing recently, and it's a very strong way to approach the matchup. Kind of a similar thing from Soma. 2.5 hatchery build. We've seen these two builds go head to head over and over and over again in the past year or so. We're gonna get a chance to see who has perfected this style the best, who is the better player at this style, as nobody has taken early damage. Both players are getting ready for this mid-game phase.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a minimal Mutalisk threat here from Soma for the time being. He's just gonna have 6 mutas initially while trying to get this on base location third, trying to poke into the natural regardless. With only 1 turret shooting longbolt missiles at those mulas doesn't soften them enough to really stop him just coming in there and killing some of the Marines off already. So maybe Soma wants to ramp up the aggression just a little bit. When you're killing this many Marines, it does tend to mean you can apply more and more pressure. It's a bit of a compounding effect here. There is 3 medics, so that's kind of like middle of the road in terms of how much stim energy you've got available to you. So Soma, for the time being, will want to bait out as many stims as he can. 4th medic would make it harder for this to work, but if you've got only 3 medics, there's a way you can whittle down that energy reservoir over time and really start to put the pressure onto the Terran indirectly just by flying in and out every 10 seconds like he is now.
Yeah, he's looking to flank this army, get in between the Terran player and the rally. Oh, a lot of sunken colonies going up right now. Soma's gonna dive. That's a lot of turrets, my goodness. And he catches them on the way out. Really solid play from Light. And a lot of these are gonna be canceled. This was a bit of a gambit from... or a gamble from Soma. He was thinking, I'm just going to make Sunkens and go all in, just dive in there. But the moment he saw the number of turrets from Light, he knew that wasn't going to work, and so he's going to change up the game plan.
Wow, both these guys are so good, man. I really like the on-the-fly adjustments that both of these guys are taking. And the fact that he's cancelled some of these Sunkens means that he'll have a point of transition here. Like, he's not super all-in anymore. He can't... Yeah, there's the Hydra Den. But if... for a moment there, it did look like he was going to cool Light's bluff a little bit, allow him to push and go in for a massive dive, but Light smelt that out and had loads of turrets in that main base to prevent something like that from being capitalized upon. Really high level stuff from both of these guys. It's actually hurting the gas mining ever so slightly of Light. Like, it's not too bad, that turret placement. It's like taking him down from like 300 gas a minute to like 260 or 270 or something, but it's a worth price to pay to make sure you're safe to something like a massive backstab that he went for.
Yeah, he'll eventually work to remove one of those turrets so that it can mine effectively once again. Once the Mutalisk threat has been neutralized, he is getting into the starport tech now, and will have some air splash damage available to him soon. Pushing out now with a pretty big army. In fact, this is a very sizable army. It'll be tough for Soma to take good fights with this as it pushes across the map. He needs to look for stragglers, stray units. A tank was made as well. Light thinking about putting on some pressure with a tank, trying to get in there before defilers are ready to just get that damage done and maybe break this natural.
Yeah, I mean, now Soma is looking for a bit of a Mutaling cleanup on aisle 5. The question is, has Light got a strong enough Bioforce that this won't be allowed to do the job that it needs to? He hasn't actually got the Ling speed yet, I don't think. It might be finishing up any second now, but for the time being, there is no Ling speed. Light needs to be a little bit careful he doesn't allow himself to be easily flanked by this force of Soma. He's going to come in now and try and shave a little bit off the top over and over again, start lining this Terran up for a potential Mutaling force, but Light seems to know better and is shuffling his force back over to the right-hand side of this center ring of high to low ground pizza slice transitional points, and should be pretty safe against that kind of idea now from Soma, as well as guaranteeing him to be able to reinforce that bio blob. Defiler Mound just now going down, so Light will probably have to pull the trigger on doing something soon. He can't just allow Soma to get that consume and Defiler Cheeto Cloud Dust too quickly. So he's going to have to go in a second here with these tanks and apply a lot of pressure, because he's got like a minute and a half or so until Soma's all set up.
Yeah, it's quite the commitment to make all these tanks. Oh, and he's going to get a snipe on a tank as well. That really puts a damper on this push. Those tanks are only really useful right at this timing, just before Defilers come online. Once the Defilers out, they're going to be just kind of thrown to the side, really completely useless at that point. Until very late game, when they can sort of come back into usefulness. But we really want to get something done here now, and this has already been slowed down a lot. Tank sieging up here at the periphery. He has a bunch of lurkers. A lot of sunken colonies are being made. Lings are going to catch some reinforcing units along with these mutas as well. Just the 2 tanks is going to take some time to break through this, and I think he's going to have the Defiler on time. I really do think that this is going to be held now by Soma.
Yeah, just barely. Like, especially with using the irradiates already, there's nothing to put pressure onto that Defiler for the time being. He can just consume a drone or an egg. He's going to take one of these tanks out, so there's not a lot of firing power in this siege as well. You kind of need like at least 2 tanks, ideally 3, to do enough damage to chew through the defensive line of the Zerg. Consume not quite ready, it seems. I think finally now it's finished. He's going to Dark Swarm Cloud just in the nick of time to shut this play from Light down in its tracks. There's a third base being established from Light already, but that's kind of just keeping up with the Zerg. He loses a vessel as well. That's really painful. Soma already shoving him back in a big way. Really, Light needs to double expand from this position and try and leapfrog the Zerg and go into late game production as early as possible. But it might be a bit challenging for Light to get those 4 bases up uncontested.
Yeah, Light was really hoping that he could get in and just get the killing blow right here with his tank push. But now that that's failed, he's behind in vessel count. He's not taken that 3rd just yet. He's trying to get that on location now. And all this time, Soma has been ticking away on his upgrades. He's got a ton of lurkers out now. He's completely defended here, and he has the base at the natural, so he will be able to easily grab a 4th base here in a moment.
Yeah, the tricky thing with laying siege to a Zerg like this is they can also just hide their Defilers on the other side of their Nidus canals, so you have to be really on top of things as a Terran to shut down a Zerg that's playing like this. There's that 4th command center from Light, so he is double expanding as he should, but it might be a little bit tricky for him to contain the Zerg on 2 fronts and hold this 4th base as well. This is the kind of the hardest thing that Terran have to contend with. As soon as Zerg get that 4th gas as well, it's so much resources you have to fight against. Like, having an additional gas for a few minutes is a big deal. Like, say this 4th gas that he gets, if he just stockpiles gas for even just 4 minutes, that's enough to make 6 Ultralisks once that 4th base is online. So all of a sudden Zerg has a massive power spike that the Terran can't really deal with so easily anymore. He's got some fire bats that could maybe challenge Soma underneath the Dark Swarm if there was just one single isolated lurker or something, but it seems like Soma's done a good job of keep replenishing that count of lurkers to not allow Light any kind of holes to exploit.
Yeah, it's Kind of a dangerous thing. You're trying to walk that fine line here as a Zerg player. Not spend too much gas so that you have a big round of ultras popping out as soon as possible. But you also have to make enough lurkers so that he can't be broken here. And Light was hoping that he was walking that line a little bit too close and that a bunch of firebats showing up at the right time could punch through and break the majority Ling defense underneath the Dark Swarm. But unfortunately for him, there are plenty of lurkers here. There's plenty of Dark Swarm as well. Tank moving up here, not really going to be able to find much except for maybe some pot shots on these sunken colonies. Trying to run forward here to get an irradiate. He does get one on the Defiler. Can we get a plague? Okay, just another Dark Swarm here for now. And double dropship. Light is going to get really aggressive now. Try to hit one of these bases while Soma is powering.
Yeah, he's kind of desperate to find something now. I mean, at the end of the day, Starcraft's a timing attack-orientated game, and Terran is the most timing attack-orientated race. So Light needs to do something now before the super late game phase is fully operational for Soma. But it seems like Soma's identified that he's got some anti-drop units in the base of this fourth gas now. Here comes those two drop ships. There's a pair of Scourge and some Lurkers and Lings to try and help deal with this. Even a Defiler rotating down into this pocket to defend it. Light can shuffle around and be annoying with this force, but loses the dropship. But Light won't be able to accomplish too much here, unfortunately. Soma is going to shut that drop down, and with the dropships dying, it makes it harder to keep elevatoring more and more units to continue the siege.
Yeah, he's not going to get much done there. Soma was too well prepared, and look at this base, just absolutely full of units. He's got the bare minimum defending the natural, and everything else is being cranked out here in the main. He's got so many extra hatcheries. It's kind of insane, Shun. He's got 3 extra hatches in the main, and then he's got 2 here at the 4th base as well. So just a ton of hatcheries to work with. Marines try to push up here into the natural of this 3rd base, but it's not going to be possible. Still making a few lurkers here and there as this ultra transition begins. All that gas is going to disappear here in a second as Soma makes his first round of ultras and starts to get aggressive.
Yeah, Soma leapfrogging some Dark Swarms away from his natural point in that 3rd base, taking out the tank with some Zerglings as well, alleviating any kind of siege pressure from Light. Finally, battle cruisers are operational with that 3rd starport coming online and the physics labs being made. Can take a little bit of some doing though for Light to put the pressure onto Soma. Soma's going to start running away with this game if Light's not careful. There's a lot of production, a lot of hatcheries like you were talking about, and eventually Soma is just going to be macroing on all cylinders. Now this 4th gas has been established. Light in a lot of trouble. He needs to do something to put a dent into the economy of Soma, especially the gas income right now. And this battlecruiser can do that both directly and indirectly, killing gas drones and geysers, as well as forcing Scourge to be made to counteract that. Will take a little bit of gas out of the tank of Soma for the time being, but I don't know if this is going to be enough from Light.
Battlecruiser makes its way over to the 3rd. Doesn't look like he's totally prepared for that. Firebat's doing a good job under the Dark Swarm as well. Might be able to kill this one lurker. Nope, just barely not able to get that kill. Counterattacks are starting to get onto Light's side of the map, but a lot of bunkers are coming up right now. You gotta admire Light for his overall macro, man. Look at how much he's able to produce out here on the map. He's just hitting everywhere at once and taking another expansion down at bottom center.
Wow, I'm also impressed with Soma. Like, he sent in 5 Scourge with Mutalisks onto the battle cruiser to, like, you know, avoid a Scourge being auto-targeted down in one shot by that BC. A D-Matrix Firebat trying to make a gambit here, drawing the fire of the subterranean spines off the lurker, opening up the pocket. Ultras are coming out in support of that, though, and the reinforcements have been cut off, so this force of Light will fall. It was a nice idea from Light to find some kind of way of exploiting the defenses here of Soma, now trying to also tax his multitasking ability. Has these 2 battle cruisers in the natural expansion. He's going to split off these Scourge pretty well onto those BCs. One still remaining and applying a bit of pressure to someone on the other side of the map. He has his base at the 6 o'clock as well, so it's 5 base Terran versus 4 base Zerg. This is technically a game-winning position for Light. He just needs to execute and keep the Zerg contained on these 4 bases for a few more minutes so those gas geysers in the main and natural become depleted, and he loses the wind from his sails that he needs. But Soma also trying to take this base at the 9 o'clock to compensate.
Yeah, he's gonna take that base over at center left. I wouldn't mind a double expansion right now. Maybe take top right at the same time, or top left. He's kind of splitting off ultras everywhere, and he is losing some of these. They're not doing that well against the spread forces of Light, and the battle cruisers flying overhead are getting some excellent DPS onto these ultras, and he's got a limited supply of them. As you said, these gas geysers are going to start to run out soon, but he's forcing Light to be on the defensive. He's keeping him back while he's taking these additional bases, and once that next gas comes online, his problems will be solved.
Yeah, it's just literally like 1 more minute until these 2 geysers will be mined out here for Soma. So he's going to try and use the steam he's still got to put Light on the back foot and launch assaults onto his expansions and cut off his own supply while establishing this base at the 9 o'clock. He's defending by attacking right now, and that gas is just now finished at that center left base as well to compensate for those depleted geysers. Light, though, has shut down gas mining temporarily in that base in the bottom left as well. So much action on both sides here. Looks like Soma's slightly getting the better end of the stick. For a moment there was an opportunity for Light to put on enough pressure that Soma would eventually become depleted and unable to scale with the Terran, but Soma has shut down mining up both of these expansions to compensate, and now has got that gas up online like we see now.
Yeah, the battle cruisers are slowly being dealt with here. Very hard to get decent trades against these. They do one-shot each and every Scourge down. And, oh, great plague there. Finally hitting a plague on these vessels. I was wondering when it was going to happen. He can Dark Swarm here and kill the command center as well. Oh, doesn't even need to. Gonna get that command center, may even get a plague on the battle cruisers as well. This is going very well now for Soma's gonna consume. There's the plague, and despite having so many battle cruisers in the air, Light is starting to fall apart.
Yeah, I mean, for a moment it did look like he had a strong shot at shutting down Soma and keeping the virus contained, but it doesn't seem successful. The perimeter has been breached by Soma, and unfortunately he's going to start to multiply and grow exponentially in this game. There's going to be another last hurrah punch from Light, trying to knock out some of these expansions, playing a bit of a game of whack-a-mole with Soma, hoping that he can't reinforce some of these positions quickly enough while the battle cruisers are distracting elsewhere. But unfortunately, Light is in a little bit of trouble at the moment. Soma looking to snuff him out in this game, using his units very cost efficiently as well. Just a handful of Ultralists cutting off this army, and as soon as the irradiates go down, that splash damage of that irradiate helping cleave through that Terran bio with that splash damage. Now looking to take more additional bases is Soma as well. Light is in a lot of trouble, Sam.
Yeah, the battle cruisers are being dealt with. He's not got another CC down here at bottom center. He's long distance mining this location. Should be adding a CC on here pretty soon. Was that drops I saw going into the main? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Usually you're not going to be doing much dropping at this point in the game, but it's actually not a bad idea when you've got battle cruisers kind of covering for the drops. He's pushing in here with no medics. One medic is all he's got here. A lot of fire bats and quite a few marines with the battle cruisers floating overhead. Can he actually hold his own here against the ultras coming into the main base? Those battle cruisers just adding on that extra damage. Even Yamato coming out here to kill a single ultra, but eventually the ground army will be cleared and Soma will get back to mining as soon as Scourge have been made to deal with this.
Yeah, I mean, Light is so close to doing significant damage to Soma. It's just barely not enough. It's kind of a wild game that we have. If Light can establish control over these expansions yet again and get back to mining, maybe there's a pathway to victory here. Soma will get more and more of these bases online to compensate, though, for those depleted geysers. So the pressure is still not going to be alleviated for Light. He's going to have a real tug of war on his hands with this high-class Zerg. Light really being put through his paces here in this game. Both players pretty much fully upgraded at this point. It's just a battle of the wits and the forces on the ground as one another try to outmaneuver. But I mean, maybe Light can do this. It just looks so hard. Like Soma is just playing so good with the plagues, the flanks, and the understanding of the game position at every junction. Light needs to keep him distracted elsewhere while applying pressure to these expansions like he's been doing. He's coming so close to siphoning off more of the gas income for Soma, but he's always coming up short ever so slightly.
And he's getting a few more bases online here, slowly but surely. He is growing. Soma gonna get a great plague here over on these two battle cruisers and baiting them into the spores as well. That's a lot of money that's been spent here. Vessels that could have been made but weren't, or not really much gain. Well, maybe if he can get this extractor, that's actually going to mean something. He might also be able to start casting some Yamatos from this high ground. Nope, looks like those will both end up going down. No Yamato cannon shot out here. And Light is just having a very hard time getting some good value out of these BCs now. Soma has his number, and he's starting to kind of close things out with some good control and dealing with these battle cruisers appropriately.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking rough for Light at the time being. Now pretty much even on supply with Soma, which is definitely not a position you want to be in as Terran. If he can't find some critical damage soon, Soma's going to run away with this game, and that's kind of the nature of this matchup as well. The longer it goes on, the better it gets for Zerg, generally speaking. And you, as a Terran, it's really your job to put the pressure and get some damage done in that mid to late game transitional phase. And Light has not been successful in doing that here, so Soma's been able to run away with this game in a big fashion. And yeah, he's looking more and more unstoppable as the seconds tick by.
It would be one thing if Light was making a big transition into mech. Maybe if he had, you know, the middle of the map kind of full of tanks, there may be a shot, but he's still just kind of running around with bio, trying to get little drops going and stuff like that, and he's so spread out. Soma is eventually going to get a Dark Swarm Cloud somewhere that's valuable, and looks like he's managed to make it happen over here at the 6 o'clock. The one base that is somewhat fresh for Light is going to get kind of stopped from mining here for some time, and Light's going to try to counterattack. Is this the last desperate gasp here for the Terran?
I mean, it's coming close to that right now. I mean, there is a world where Soma makes a couple of blunders and Light can find damage. It's just unlikely to transpire. Light is looking for it, though. He's trying to force a mistake out of Soma and a miscalculation by just, you know, streamlining some units in that can get mopped up with some target firing. But seems like Soma always has just barely the right threshold of units necessary to stamp out these efforts from Light without too much of an issue. And yeah, I mean, even though he hasn't stopped the mining at the 6 o'clock for Light, the longer this game goes on, the harder and harder it's going to get for Terran to claw the way back. He's finally now making a pool of tanks to try and keep his hopes alive. And as you were saying, that is one way you can turn a game state like this around, is by having, like, you know, 12 to 24 tanks that just start ripping apart the Zerg as they trickle in. For the time being, he's still in a little bit of trouble, but maybe he can get that transition fully underway and get enough tanks to really put the fight back onto Soma.
You can see Soma's thinking about taking top right. He's thinking about getting another base online here. Does he really need another base to keep up with Light, who's sitting here now? Well, he's on 5 bases, but he's basically mining on 2 at this point. Still enough to stay in the game as the Terran player, but definitely needs a little bit more income If he wants to take on Soma, who's just building up so many ultras. Look at all the ultras pouring in towards this bottom center. There's not enough Marines on this map to deal with that many ultras pushing their way in. The battle cruisers are going to have to come back to try and help out, but the ultras that have been irradiated, eviscerating this mineral line.
Yeah, so many SCVs falling to those irradiated ultralists. Light did do a bit of a good counter drop here, killed the drones at this base over here in the bottom left, but it's not good enough. Light is now behind in supplies. Soma is going to take more and more bases while Light is depleted in mining. He's not even mining anything at that 6 o'clock base right now. That's a big deal. That's pretty much his last bastion of hope while he tries to take this top right pocket. Those tanks could help give him some momentum and give a little bit of tempo back into his side of the power scaling, but it's not going to be good enough at this point. Like, it's going to be really hard to leverage these tanks appropriately if you haven't got a strong active bioforce to provide map control. You'll just get flanked. Like, if your tanks go on the offensive, suddenly your expansion is overrun, or they will just flank the tanks. Like, there is not an easy path to victory for the Terran. He needs to reconsolidate his forces, establish mining at this 6 o'clock yet again, try and get another base online, and then take the fight to Soma. Trying to get all of those things done with what forces he's got right now is looking like an insurmountable task. Maybe he can figure it out. Soma could still make some mistakes. I just don't see it.
Ultras are coming in right now. The battle cruisers are trying to fight in that base. I wish he would turn these around. He will now turn these around and try to get some more good damage onto these ultras, but just BCs alone are not going to win the game for you. No more ground force here for Light, and he's going to be possibly overwhelmed in that bottom right as well. There's one mineral patch left there, and so that's going to mine out. Light's got 45 minerals to work with.
I mean, he's got a chip in the chair, I guess, saying maybe there's some way he can claw his way back into this game, but it's just not looking good. So, I mean, 107 supply to 175 of Soma. We've been talking about it for quite a few minutes now. He's got this pocket of tanks in his main base, but he's not even attempted to bring them to bear elsewhere on the map at all, or even being able to find a good enough opportunity to do so. He's even going to potentially lose BCs to Hydras right now. Wait, is he doing an offensive GG to Light? I think that's what's happening. I think Light did an offensive GG to YC. Soma getting a bit of revenge despite YC not being a teammate. And yeah, offensively, GG's Light out of the game there as well. Wow, what a crazy game.
Well, props to Light for hanging in that long. I mean, Soma seemed to have the edge for probably about 10 minutes. Just wasn't quite able to close against Light, and Light was still making some good moves. It was just very hard from the position he found himself in. Now we've got Soma versus Best on Screaming Sea. This is very exciting, Shun. I've been waiting to see how these two match up against each other, and we're gonna get one of the crazier maps to get that well, much anticipated matchup.
Yeah, and this has been probably one of the most banned maps, right? We haven't seen a whole lot of games on it. This could be really interesting, and it's a little bit longer rush distance, and it has island bases, so that means things like Reaver Serre are extremely viable. Usually you have to be a bit more defensive with that style, and it's very difficult to get a third base online, so a lot of pro gamers don't try and go for Reaver Serre. Not only that, but it's one of the most mechanically demanding ways of playing the game, especially for Protoss. But with these island expansions, gives you an easier access to a third base to establish in that mid-game phase. So styles like Reavers against Zerg definitely viable here now.
Absolutely, we could see a really wacky game. We really haven't seen much ZVP on this map at all. A little bit disappointed we don't have actually Snow trying to play out on this map. I think we might have had Snow. I'm kind of forgetting this, Shun, but I think we had Snow on this map one game. In
Snow versus Queen, was it? When Snow was bottom left, I think. Like that.
Maybe,
yeah,
and got Hydra busted or something like that. He just didn't quite have everything together. I kind of remember a Protoss player getting Hydra busted here, and we didn't get to see the game that we wanted to, but watching a super long late game on a map like this in PvZ, it's so hard to even say what can happen.
Right, I can't remember who the Zerg player was, it might have been Queen, but basically they did a very fast 4 base, 4 hatchery, where they took this base at the 12 o'clock as their 4th hatchery, which means they can get a lot of minerals with not that many drones, because you're able to mine the best mineral patches and, you know, kind of pick and choose from those bases. So with less drones, you can get the same amount of money, and it does put timings like that Hydra bust into even more formidable positions. So yeah, I can't remember who the Zerg was, but he did this fast 4 base timing, I think it was Queen, and really put Snow on the back foot after Snow suicided his shuttle and a Reaver in at this natural 3rd zone.
You've got such a better memory than me for a lot of these things, Shun. I'm glad to have you here. It would be really cool to see a late game for the first time in KCM on this map, and this might be that game. Is there going to be a layer here? He does. I believe he just took the layer. Soma might want to fight him in the air, go for Mutas and Scourge, and try to make that work.
I think air is very strong on this map just because of those island bases. You want to have options of attacking them as well as potentially taking them and defending them yourself. So I will not be too surprised if we see Zerg go for early drop tech as well, and maybe try and get a 4th base or a 5th base pretty quickly here on those island expansions as well, and lock out the Protoss from doing so themselves by taking air superiority away with an Ogre Zerg style initially. We'll have to see what comes to pass. We did see a gateway opening from Best. That's not his usual forte. He's a forge fast expansion kind of guy, but he's elected to do a bit more of a tech heavy style here. Get a nice fast Stargate on the way. He went core in the wall here to try and optimize his tech timings and exploit the fact that this is a slightly long rush distance on this map. And you can see he's delayed getting this cannon as well for so long. It has actually enabled Soma to get inside the main base with 2 Zerglings. That's not what you want to see as a Protoss. He gets a full scout off with these 2 Zerglings, as well as drawing the attention of the Zealots into the main base and potentially killing a probe or 2.
Yeah, this is Best just being so greedy. I mean, sometimes on a normal map you'll end up taking the core before building the cannon, but getting the Stargate even and +1 before getting to get it, this is absolute just kind of disgusting levels of greed, and he's been punished a little bit. This didn't have to happen though. Best even went so far as to send a Zealot out on the map to try and force Lings and then try to loop it back around to his natural to defend. He could have just left that in the wall and just been happy with the greedy early opener and been fine. Now he's lost like 3 or 4 probes in the main.
3.
It's kind of on him at this point. Like, he was so incredibly greedy.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the nature of the beast in StarCraft. Like, you try and like dance along the tightrope of greed without, you know, taking any damage, and you kind of need to do that to some extent to stay ahead of your opponent and, you know, keep curving out a strong mid game. But the reality is that that can also come back to haunt you more often than not if you're not careful. And while doing somersaults on that tightrope, a little bit of a slip there from Best, and has taken some early damage now, losing those 3 probes. Has taken out some of the overlords of Soma, so I mean, isn't terrible either. I think he's killed 2 overlords in total, so he's put a little bit of counter pressure back onto Soma, but not necessarily enough to compensate for that economic damage he was staying.
Now mutas are out, and it's another 4th hatchery at a 4th cat, or at a 4th base. Maybe he threw down the macro hatch at the natural a little bit earlier. Not 100% sure on that, but he definitely got this 4th base very quickly, and that'll afford him a lot of gas to potentially try and make a very large air army. Lots of Scourge could be coming Best's way here soon, and so he's going to have to keep on making... Oh, there we go. Evolution Chamber Hydra Den just popped up here, and so there may be a transition coming from Soma.
And this is a very quick 4th base from Soma to boot, saying, so this is going to be an interesting game where we've got here. He's going to try and explode in his production in a similar fashion as he did against Light here, obviously with a lot more of a different flavor and style due to the nature of the matchup. We'll have to see how this all comes together here. Best definitely on the back foot for the time being, scared to move out with his Corsairs to get scouting information. This is the key junction in this matchup where usually the Protoss doesn't quite have enough Corsairs to come out onto the map and get that valuable scouting information. You can maintain that issue by going for Mutalisks and Scourge, so he might never even identify that there's a 4th base here unless he sacrifices some Zealots out onto the map to identify that. He has actually got 3 Zealots, a little hit squad here, trying to go around, and he will be able to see this 4th base timing as a result now.
Yeah, that was interesting. Soma built that base, but he's just using it as a macro hatch for now. Just added 1 single drone finally to that base, but it's just being a bit of a placeholder for the time being. These Zealots get in and 1 drone ends up going down, but everything's been tracked down and finished off. Best did get the information he was looking for, though, and he slowed down this attack, which is going to be coming across the map now with a lot of Scourge.
Yeah, I don't think Soma wanted to saturate that base too much until he established map control, just because of the possibility of, like, you know, speed zealots and what have you running across the map and doing something. There is a DT actually making its way to that 4th base now. If Soma's not paying attention, maybe it can kill a few of those drones that were just now sent to saturate it. So that DT might get, you know, 4 or so drone kills. There's a nice little pickup here. It's actually going to be 5 drone kills total. That's not bad at all there for Best. Definitely keeping him in this game, but he's still on the back foot. Soma still with an advantage overall when all's said and done, so Best not out of the woods yet.
Yeah, Best gonna lose this DT, and I don't see a Robo here just yet. Is he planning to take a island base, or is he just gonna push along this kind of straight and narrow route, try to just take a fight with Soma head on?
I think so. Like, yeah, I don't see a single Robo. Maybe he's assuming there won't be lurkers here. I think he's expecting a Muta Hydra force from Soma, and he's going to attempt to outmuscle him with a strong 2-base timing attack around about the 10-minute 30, 11-minute mark. I imagine Best will start to want to move out against him. We'll have to wait and see how he plans on going about this. It's a bit of a strange way that Best is wanting to play this out. He needs a few more Dragoons as well to have a strong enough standing army to skirmish with the Zerg on the ground. But the reality is this map is very choked up. I mean, there is a direct path to your opponent and not much room to flank unless you're already overextending. So maybe Best can claw his way back into this game.
Do you think this favors the Zerg or the Protoss? Maybe if you have lurkers, I guess it's very strong because you only have to defend 1 location to hold all 4 bases, whereas on regular maps you have to hold, you know, multiple different areas, and you might have to shuffle your lurkers around to deal with the attacks coming into different areas. But if you're just pure Hydra, it's going to be very hard, right? Like, just this 1 bridge area, you can storm down a lot of your Hydras, and there's hardly any room to maneuver.
I think this is why Soma wants to overextend just a little bit here. You've got his Hydras out in front across the other side of that bridge to give him more room to maneuver and storm dodge and micro back. Seems like a 3rd base from Best rather than a push. So Soma's going to try and dive on that, try and get on top of those High Templars with the Muta. There's massive amounts of Scourge coming in to connect with those stairs in the air, and unfortunately for Best, there's just a little bit too much Zerg on the bone for him to chew through right now. He has to evacuate the attempts of taking that 3rd base. Unfortunately for him, Soma is just macroing on all cylinders right now. We talked a bit earlier about how Soma's a bit of a macro god, and he's showcasing that here today. Best is also a macro Protoss, but he's struggling to contend with Soma right now.
Yeah, that was a bit of an insane attack. I love the storm that came out from Best, just kind of filtering out all of those Scourge. Had things gone a little better for him, he might have been able to keep the majority of the Corsairs alive, gun down those mutas immediately, but just a few Corsairs managed to live here, and most of the Templar were killed. So he backs up, gets a couple more Templar together, and he's going to retry to take this third base. Now, one thing about the third and fourth on this map is they run out very quickly, especially the fourth base up on that high ground. It's got hardly any minerals at it, and so, you know, he's going to be losing a lot, or he's not going to be able to maintain this for very long. Nice snipes on these high Templar, and here comes the Hydras to follow it up.
Yeah, there's just a few too many Hydras to make this efficient for Best as well. He's done a good job of like kind of pulling his Dragoons back slightly, getting maximum surface area with some Zealot support. He might actually be able to fight back these Hydras. Muta's coming in to try and make up the difference. Not so much going to be able to do about that, but there is a lot of Hydras though streaming in. He basically doubled his Hydra number at that moment, so I think that he will be able to fight Best back. There was a good moment there for Best where he had good positioning of the arc of Dragoons, but not enough to keep Soma at bay. Yet again, evacuating that third base. More High Templars falling as well. Soma just outmaneuvering Best in this game in a significant fashion, and he's ahead by like 20 supply or so.
There was, when we saw Best move back there and get into that nice arc, I was kind of looking at that fight like, huh, maybe he can do this. And then another like 30, 40 Hydras walked onto screen. I was like, oh my gosh, you know, where did all of those come from? Soma absolutely next level, just bringing forward masses of units here, and just the 2-3 High Templars that can be made by Best at a time is not going to cut it. Best is getting pushed back here up onto his ramp again, and it's past the 14, or it's about to pass the 14-minute mark here. He's only got another minute or so to get out and get this third base, and he actually needs a third and a fourth right now if he wants to survive.
Right. Unfortunately, there's just not enough muscle underneath the fur of Best, and Soma's shaved him and has, you know, found him wanting in this game. Best, despite being a very strong macro Protoss, usually is having a hard time adjusting to this style of Soma. And now that he's got these fast 4 bases operational and undeterred, there's not much counterplay for Best to come out onto the map and put pressure onto him. And Soma's wisely overextended in this game, and you can see he's opened up this channel of flanking from the natural 4th base of Best by being aggressive. Like, it's actually better for him to be overextended and allow himself to have a chance of pressuring a flank against Best to force Best into an awkward position where he's kind of trapped between a rock and a hard place. If he commits too far forward down this center lane, Soma can wrap around the back of him, and he knows it. And with the utilization of these Mutalisks in the sky as well, he's going to keep chipping away at the High Templar count and reducing the Storm utility available to the Protoss. He's going to dive in now yet again, trying to snipe some of these precious High Templars before one of them can even get their Storm off. And with that flank from the north, preventing optimal engagement as well. I think Best might have to tap out here. This is just too much for him to handle. So many High Templars have fallen in this game, saying, there's the GG. Soma, like a beast from the east, taking down Best in such a spectacular fashion. This guy just looks so unstoppable sometime. He's going to be facing off against Royal or Speed here. It's coming up next.
You know, Shun, it's really funny to see such a crazy map come into the scene, and then both players just completely ignore the fact that there's islands and just ram against each other with 2 big armies. It's pretty hilarious. Like, we're playing on a map where there's just 1 lane. That's it.
You're not wrong. I mean, and let's be honest, Reaver would have done better against that army composition of Soma. Having the 2 Stargates in the sky to shut down the Ogre Zerg initially, and then Reavers against the Mass Hydra. I think Best, if he could somehow find that in his wheelhouse, would have a better time of it. It's funny how we thought these were really anti-Zerg maps, but actually the Zerg players coming out on top with better builds and just more planning to compensate for the weird geometry entry at the map, and it does seem like these other guys not so confident in exploiting the possible advantages of that map. And oh, look at this micro from Soma as well. Like, this is crazy how much pressure he's applying to Royal with a scouting drone. Look at that moving shot of Soma, as well as dancing back and forth to get the high drone micro to full effect there, forcing off additional SCVs and repair bills. This is really slowing down the Terran's economy, but also paying for the cost of sending this early drone scout in the first place.
Yeah, really fantastically done. He will have to retreat now that the Marine is on the way. But I kind of agree with you, Shun, but also there may be... I'm just talking about Screaming Sea. It might be that some of these Protoss players, they don't want to reveal kind of how they want to play Reverse Air. Maybe they're kind of hiding their build a little bit so that they can't be punished in the ASL if they decide to pull that out. We have to keep that in mind as well. KCM, not as big of a tournament as the ASL. There's pride on the line here, but not nearly as much at stake as in the ASL.
I mean, I'm sure Soma feels a lot of pride here today. He is just shutting down people left and right. Unfortunately, he won't get a double all-kill prize no matter what he does, since Light was the guy that took down YSC initially. But that all-kill prize still up for grabs if he can take out Royal, Speed, and Snow. Now, just 3 players on the chopping block for Soma to try and cut through. And who knows, maybe Hero and Sulky won't even get a chance to redeem themselves.
Yeah, that would be the funniest outcome, is if we talk about Sulky and Sulky and Hero and how they finally got a chance to redeem themselves, and now it's completely going to be overshadowed by someone. We'll see if that comes to pass. Snow is incredibly good, even in this matchup, even versus, in Protoss versus Zerg. Looks like some extra lings have been made here by Soma, and he was trying to sneak around the right-hand side so that Royal would overextend, stand out in the front there, and just get surrounded once the ling speed came into play. But he saw that with a really adept SCV scout, finds out about those lings moving along the right-hand side and does pull back into the wall. He's in a pretty phenomenal position at this point, actually. All these lings were made, and they're not going to be able to do anything against this Terran player just sitting here in the wall.
This is a beautiful SCV scout as well. It's identified exactly what Soma's doing. He sees the spire and the lack of a macro hatchery for the time being, so he can really start to line up what Soma wants to achieve here. He knows this is probably going to be a fast third on location expansion from Soma, and he could also move out onto the map now and put some pressure onto Soma. Soma might want to see if he can stab in with the Zerglings here, but I'm sure Royal's prepared for that. Maybe not, though. Maybe he can still chew through this small gap of Marines. He's just barely been able to do it. Oh, Royal getting a little bit too cocky. Luckily gets that Marine back to the wall in time to prevent total disaster, but still gonna get into the main base with those low HP Zerglings and do some scouting. Be a little bit annoying here. Sometimes you can also kill this SCV on that's building the engineering bay, for example. At least force a bit of a turnaround from Royal and slow down the attack timings. I think Soma was thinking about sending out a drone to expand, but now he's thinking better of it.
Yeah, he does throw down a macro hatch in the main base. I'm a bit confused about Royal's push out there. Deciding to move outside of his wall even after he saw all the lings that were made and sent along that right-hand side, thinking that I guess he was just safe with 2 Marines in the wall, but not the case. He loses quite a few Marines and an SCV as well, and his timing is now gone. He doesn't have a timing to get in here and force any additional sunken colonies, but he does have a very fast factory, so we may be seeing a Valkyrie build out of him to sort of counter what Soma's trying to do.
Yeah, I'm curious. I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, this factory is very quick, and it's not necessarily a 1-1-1 play, but I do think it's going to be a very quick starport into something like a 10-minute Valkyrie build. I think it definitely is possible that he could be going for something like this right now, saying, yeah, there's the armory. It's definitely going to be some variation of a Valkyrie build here from Royal. Definitely might be able to catch Soma off guard. Finally getting that third base on location in the bottom left natural, but has delayed it because of the move out timings of Royal. Made him a little bit hesitant to take that super early, so he went for a macro hatchery instead. Will he be able to keep up and identify what Royals are going for here? I don't think he went deep enough with those Mutalisks to actually spot the tech timings. So he might not be able to figure out this is going to be a Valkyrie play just yet.
Yeah, this has become really popular recently. Barracks using this to great effect in his games. And we'll know if Soma knows that this is coming by whether or not he builds a pair of Scourge or gets a Hydra Den early here. Now he's going to dive in on top of the natural, going after the bunker. This is very Soul Key-esque. Just kill the bunker here, start to open the position. Very hard for Royal to defend properly here. Now that the bunker is gone, a hole has been opened in the defenses, and those two supply depots are quite exposed. Valkyries are being made now, and is he going to be able to dive in deep enough to see this? I think he might have seen the factory there, but I don't think he knows about the Valkyries just yet.
I don't think he knows, yeah. I mean, he could maybe try and figure it out and put the puzzle pieces together, but I don't think he knows. And it'd be quite hard to figure this out blind. Maybe the Overlord in the natural will see this Valkyrie. I'm not so sure. If he can somehow find a snipe on this first Valkyrie or two, it puts the Zerg in a phenomenal position, but saying it is easier than actually executing it, of course. And I mean, Royal doing a good job of keeping Soma at bay for the time being. I just don't think that Soma knows about this just yet. He's now going to finally bring the Valkyrie to bear to act as point defense for the bio, so we'll obviously find out about this very quickly, but soon Royal's going to be able to come out onto the map in a very strong way. Usually the regular timing for this is about 10 minutes to be attacking the Zerg, but with the more modern optimizations, you can get this out onto the map between 9 minutes and 9 minutes 30. Now already starting to bruise those Mutalisks with those Valkyries. Panic Sunkens made by Soma in response to this. He wants to escort these tanks across the map with these Valkyries as quickly as possible so he can put a lot of pressure onto Soma. Seems like he's not been able to get these tanks across the field though.
I really like Barracks' execution of this build a lot better than Royal. It's feeling a little bit sloppy. Like, you kind of want to surprise the Zerg player with the Valkyries here. Like, right as the Marines are pushing forward, suddenly the Valkyries arrive while the Mutas are trying to harass, and you get a big volley on everything, and then you can really start the push. And here, hasn't really gotten too many good volleys. He does get a couple here, but one Valkyrie goes down. This volley is actually really going to hurt now. Lots of Mutas end up going down with that final volley. Just buying a little bit more time, though. It looks like he's bought enough time to get some lurkers out, but will it be enough? One siege tank here pushing forward with almost no HP. It is going to be able to get right up into the front, though, and siege, and there's not too much that Soma can do about it. He's going to go to the high ground. Maybe, actually, can he range this down from the high ground? That would be crazy. Oh!
Yeah, he can reach from there. He's so close, but doesn't barely get it. Quick shuffle from Royal unsieging and re-sieging in a safer spot. Mutalisks might still look to snipe that low HP tank, but he's taking a lot of damage from these Arclight shot cannons. He's going to try and come in here occasionally with these Mutas, but it's going to be tough now. Royal is surging forward. There's some more lurkers hatching out, but is it going to be enough? They're kind of glitching out onto into the hatchery, forced to bury on top of that. You're not usually allowed to do that, but in this case, it's totally fine to just borrow those lurkers on top of the hatchery and try and clutch out this defense. Looks like he's just barely holding the line for a time being, but look at the drop in the main base, forcing out a GG. Royal not necessarily doing a clean execution there, but more than enough to smack down Soma.
Okay, Royal. All right, I see you. That was a pretty good move with the dropship. Right with this tank timing push was unfortunate there for someone not quite able to figure out what was going on in time. He gets taken down. No all-kill prize for him today, and we are going to see at least one of Hero or Soul Key. Snow, the final Protoss player in the lineup, spawning here in the bottom right. Royal in top right, and we're going to get a little bit of Litmus TVP. Very strange map. Haven't seen a lot of TVP here. I'm a Zerg player, so I've done quite a bit of ZVP and ZVZ, but actually not too many Terran players have taken on, or have, I think a lot of the Terrans actually have this map banned, which is a little bit surprising because it is so strong, I think, for a Terran versus Zerg here. I mean, I don't know if you agree with me completely, but I really feel great about the one base style on this map for Terrans.
No, I was just thinking the same thing. I really do feel like the one base potential for Terran on this map is a little bit insane. And Terran is one of the only races that can pull off one base play. And with one additional gas provided to you, opens up the range of play so much so that you can't even metagame the one base. You can't even figure out exactly how they're going to play. It used to be that they would just go 4 barracks, 1 starport worth of vessel, like a kind of like a half measure SK Terran style, and play like that. But with the 2 gases, they could do all kinds of things, get Valkyries, get tanks as well, with just less barracks worth of production. There's not really a way to map out exactly what the Terran wants to do on one base. I think that's the beautiful thing about this map, is it prevents Terran being as rigid as they usually are and keeps their range of play as wide as possible. And I think that's a scary thing to deal with.
Yeah, definitely can be. Oh, he found the SCV, even though it's stacked on top of the other one, dropping it down to just 12 HP. There's the Marine finally. Royal going through, being put through his paces here, trying to keep that SCV alive. He manages it, but Snow's already cut a little bit of momentum here by forcing SCVs off the line to deal with this.
Yeah, it always feels good when you're able to harass the player that much with your worker, especially if you're hitting your macro beats back at home. And that is one thing that Snow does better than most players, is he's able to do these like highly intensive micro-orientated harassment styles from start to finish while not missing a beat back at home. And that's why he's so good with his Reaver control and shuttles against the Terran in particular. He's kind of got it mapped out in his head when he needs to do everything. So while he's harassing you and poking in, he's also flipping back to his base and doing what he needs to do to establish a very strong timing too.
Yeah, he's kind of well known for having a bunch of probes stack up, but honestly, when you're doing this much micro, just making the probes is enough. Eventually, when you get time to get back to your base and just send them into work, it's fine. You're losing a little bit of money by not having them mined, but having them build, in a lot of cases, it's just fine. I wanted to mention also that on this base, it's the only 2-player map where you cannot steal the gas. It's a kind of a funny situation. Having the double gas actually gets rid of that as a possibility, and so most Protoss players won't send the super early probe to try and harass and then steal the gas. But Snow, he sent his probe anyway, just for the damage, and it's actually worked out pretty good for him here. He's picking off a lot of these Marines. Oh, still 5 HP on that Dragoon. It does go down. Looks like the Vulture is going to be able to escape, and the Marine will jump into the bunker. So trading 2 Marines, 3 Marines for a Dragoon, that's actually okay here for Royal.
Yeah, no, that's definitely more than okay for Royal. He has killed the SCV scout, but yeah, it's actually a big deal that you've lost a Dragoon and you don't really accomplish a whole lot here, and the Vulture lives. If you kill the Vulture as well, that's obviously great for the Protoss, shutting out that Vulture from getting the value of its mines when that finally comes online. He's going to attempt to jump a Vulture over the stasis chambers here in the back. Takes a shot onto that Dragoon, softening up as well from the Arclight cannon of that siege tank. But if this Vulture can get out onto the map, that'd be great. He really needs this Vulture for scouting purposes, putting down mines at the 3rd base and what have you, as well as sometimes potentially, you know, stabbing into the back and preventing the Protoss being too greedy by leveraging all their Dragoons offensively and putting pressure onto the Terran and trying to snipe that 1st siege tank. So just having a Vulture out on the map kind of guarantees damage if the Protoss is too aggressive as well.
Yeah, you can see that Snow is pretty aware of this. He sent his Dragoons all the way back home. And he's going to be checking the back lane as well to make sure that nothing's hopping over. Very good prudent play from Snow, recognizing what's potentially possible here. DT drop follow-up.
Okay.
Wow, Snow going to pull it out here. I mean, you expect him to go Reaver pretty much every game, but he does throw this in every once in a while. It's not very often.
Yeah.
But he does occasionally go for this. I think someone like Best goes for it a little bit more often.
Yes.
But Snow, I mean, he will mix it in. He's not as good at plays like this or follow-ups with the Arbiters, but he can make it work. He is still an extremely strong player with these other styles.
Well, not only is variety the spice of life, saying you do have to mix it up sometimes to keep your opponents guessing. You don't want to be metagamed too much in the Starcraft scene. That's why players like Best do that in the first place. They're not necessarily good at doing it, but they know if they just play the same macro style every single game, they will be able to metagame them to their heart's content. A bit of a 3-tank move out here from Royal, trying to apply pressure to Snow right as the shuttle is coming out onto the map, but the shuttle's pretty close to this army still, so he can pull that back to drop out one single Dark Templar to help defend against this. And there's no mines to really defend it either, so he's going to kill this building SCV, stop it from establishing a turret. We'll put a bit of a clock on this aggression. Royal going to try and ram it down regardless of the fact that there's a DT swiping away his units with a Warp Blade, trying to do some damage to the economy of Snow here. He's evacuated his natural expansion. Can he target down this Nexus in time before the DT does the deed and clears out these units? Snow could be trying to fight down the ramp. DT's in the main of Royal as well now, putting on some pressure. This is kind of crazy from both sides. I don't think Royal is doing enough damage to Snow though. Snow definitely coming out on top thus far and taking damage in the main still.
Yeah, I mean, he flew right past the turrets and dropped over into this top right-hand corner. Not a whole lot you can do here. Just try to keep spamming out turrets and see if you can't get one completed that's in range of this DT. Looks like the DT could just slip into that top corner and keep hitting these supply depots as well. So, I mean, we're going to see supply depots go down now. Snow is just getting so much of an advantage at this point. Oh my god. Absolutely sick pick up there as well. Just keeping that safe from the mine and continuing to do work. Gets a Vulture and a supply depot, and he will get more.
I mean, Royal's got to be tilting his head a little bit in frustration. This is not ideal. He's done quite a lot of damage to the SCVs, and even killing a depot, and also pick up another Vulture kill as well with that Dark Templar. Definitely the damage has been done successfully. Now going to be taking a quick 3rd Nexus to catch up and play a bit more of a traditional style in this game as a follow-up. One of these Dragoons is weakened, so if he's clever and pushes up onto this ramp, lays down a mine or two in front of these Dragoons, he can break this position. Does he get a mine connection though? Snow targeting down those mines in quick succession. You kind of need to lay like 2 at a time to break through that ramp, but does an okay job of taking out a couple of those Dragoons. Not nearly good enough though, and oh, this is so annoying. He's even hitting the gas and forcing the construction of even more turrets, which is draining the economy of Royal to keep making more and more turrets he doesn't want to have to build.
Yeah, there could be an Arbiter follow-up coming as well, so every scan that gets forced out in a situation like this is like gold dust. I don't see it. Oh, just going into Reaver. All right, acceptable. Snow gonna switch into Reaver rather than try to tech it out into Arbiter and try to use that traditional follow-up. He's just going to possibly get into an early Storm with Reaver and all these gateways coming online. He certainly has access to a lot of gas right now.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Royal, he's going straight into 6 factory. He probably has gotten frustrated enough that he just wants to go on the offensive and try and cripple Snow before he can run away with this game and put a lot of pressure on and try and punish this third base timing. Snow, though, drawing the attention of Royal with this shuttle and DT, forcing more scans and more turrets out from Royal. This is really frustrating play for Royal to withstand. I don't know if he can come back with a very strong timing attack. It's possible, though, if the shuttle speed's not ready in time, if he comes in here and attacks Snow just before there's enough Reavers and shuttles to shut that down, maybe Royal can flip the script here on Snow, but he has to be quick and decisive.
Well, unfortunately, there's no Goliath, so not having the shuttle speed doesn't really matter too much. Reaver gets a second Scarab off here. He can start to drop right on top with the Reavers now, but he's just going to keep juggling them right in front of the Dragoons and clearing out this army. Too much damage was done by that DT, and so overwhelming numbers are just going to crush through this army.
Yeah, Royal definitely losing any hopes of a comeback now. Even going to get a beautiful Scarab off before those tanks finish sieging. Both those tanks could go down. Beautiful Reaver and shuttle control from Snow. That's exactly what we've come to expect from him over the years. Just really high-level stuff. And that shuttle still existing in the back end of the base of Royal, being an active threat. GG called, and Snow taking down Royal with style. That means we're going to have a Snow versus Hero game, say, and that could be kind of exciting. Maybe Sulky as well. Who knows? One of these guys is going to be facing off against Snow. And as we've talked about, Snow is way better in PvZ than he used to be, and both of those guys not playing their best recently.
Hero over here in the bottom right-hand corner. We've got Snow in the bottom left on Metropolis, and yes, Hero has been slouching as of late. We've been talking about it a lot, Shun, in our cast, because we've been praising this guy for so many years. We've been kind of looking at him as the #2 best Zerg player in the world for such a long time. It is such a big change here to have him in a bit of a slump.
Well, I mean, even Flash was saying, I think, in one of the Jinjin videos that, I mean, Hero's always Mr. Consistent. So the fact that he's performing this bad is really strange for Hero. Like, it's not that he's always playing amazing, but he's never playing bad usually. So definitely maybe some hints at some kind of mental crash. I don't know exactly what's going on. I don't know if he had some like bad news or he's just not feeling it recently. Who knows what's going on in the Hero camp, but hasn't been able to show up in a big way for so long now in recent games. It's kind of strange. I want to see him bounce back and go back to the form we've come to know and love, but I don't know, man. I mean, maybe these are the tides of change. We've had a lot of new Zergs bounce back in the field. Jaedong's playing great again recently. We've got Effort back, Soma back. There's a lot of great Zergs that are re-establishing themselves in the scene, even Lava, and now maybe that's going to put a bit of a shadow and a bit of a daunter onto these other Zergs that will have the spotlight taken away from them a little bit.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, he could be just going through a breakup or something. Who knows?
Right.
We can't really say for certain what's happening in Hero's life right now, and I'm sure that he will get himself together here and start to perform once again. given enough time to recover. It's just, is he ready to play against Snow, who's been practicing like crazy, who is on another level right now when it comes to his PvZ play. He's trying to sneak a Zealot in here, but Hero picking up on that and actually getting a great surround. Ooh, this surround is sick, and he keeps the Ling alive as well. That was perfect control.
I mean, if this is the game for Hero to bounce back, I'm all about it. That was a great way to start the day for Hero. One of the best Ling surrounds you can hope to get. Just 4 slow Lings killing a Zealot in that fashion. Really hard to accomplish, but he's done it here. Puts a bit of a skill check on Snow as well. Wants to be a little bit more cautious, but luckily he's got this scouting probe identifying that there's no additional Zerglings on the way to his base, so he probably feels reasonably safe here to put out another Zealot onto the map. But this gateway expand from Snow not having the potency it's supposed to, and unfortunately for Snow, it might be a little bit harder for him to apply pressure to Hero now after getting that first Zealot caught.
He's gonna loop around and head to the 3rd base. Hydra Den on the way. Hero aware that there could be a Zealot headed his direction, so he's keeping his Zerglings tight to the chest. He's making sure that he is well defended here, at least preventing any sort of probe or Zealot slipping past. Now he sees the Zealot gonna head over to defend these drones. Nothing coming into the natural right now from Snow. If he had a probe in the map ready to dive into this natural right now, he would be an absolute genius, and he would know right away whether there was going to be a Hydra bust or not. As it stands, he has no idea that this is coming.
With the Overlord of Hero in the natural, was able to identify that there was a Zealot missing in the wall, so he kept those Zerglings back to deal with that counterattack pressure, and also saw there was no probe scouts sent out onto the map, so he's done a great job of min-maxing his early game defense without having to make too many Zerglings all in all. And he is going for a very fast Hydra Den to follow this up, and one of the things we've talked about before is you can only really go for a Hydra bust against Gateway Expand if you do well against the initial Zealot pressure and kill a Zealot or 2 for free. And he pretty much has done that. He's killed 2 Zealots now. Forced Snow a little bit on the back foot, made the 5 Zealot move out timing really delayed as a result, and you don't really want to push out until you have a second cannon anyway in this position due to the possibility of flooding Zerglings. So it seems like Snow are going to be on the back foot and not able to easily identify the fact that there might be Hydras on their way soon, and a Hero wisely has Zerglings on both fronts to prevent a Ninja Scout from this Zealot coming in, identifying that, and another pretty good surround from Hero. He's playing a lot better here today.
Yeah, here's the Ling speed, so hard to identify that this is coming. Hydra going to be pulled back. Is it pulled back just in the nick of time? No, no cannon built just yet. Looks like he's still in the dark for now. Right. Oh, actually not Ling speeds, excuse me. Lings are still slow here, and Hydra's going to be making their way to that front.
Yeah, and that's a hedging your bets cannon. I don't think he knows it for sure. I think he's just, you know, trying to dot his I's, cross his T's in case it's coming. And you kind of have to do that as Protoss if you don't know for sure. And now he's going to be figuring that out, and we'll make an additional 4th cannon. This could be a strong enough timing, though, that Snow could be in a lot of trouble. There's enough Zerglings to soak up these Zealots, and now some Hydra's in range of that cannon. The first cannon will fall, and it'll take a few more seconds until those other cannons are ready. Probes coming the line, pretty good surround on those Hydras, but not enough to capitalize on it. Has bought a few precious seconds for these cannons to start to finish. Can he hold the line, though? Probes have to stay off the line and keep warding these Hydras up, but it's not good enough. They're not preventing surface area. The Hydras take out those front 2 cannons. Now the wall's exposed. Forge will be targeted down before the upgrade can finish, as well as the gateway short to follow. Snow in a lot of trouble now, saying.
Yeah, he can't even save himself with a DT here. He wasn't able to kill that Overlord, and GG is called. Really solid Hydra bust there from Hero after handling those early Zealots with some class. Nice to see him back in a bit of good form here, at least for this first game. Let's see if he can keep it up. Well, I thought we were going to have a extremely strong showing from Protoss this week with Snow and Bast in the lineup, but going down pretty quickly here. We've already eliminated the Protoss squad. So we'll be receiving no points today, no prize money either. Hero and Speed now gonna battle it out, see who will take that first place and who's going to get the first place prize money. I think it's I haven't actually checked for a really long time, Sean. What's the Korean won at now from US dollars? I know it's constantly changing, but it was somewhere around $750 last time I checked. Not really sure what it is these days, but
that's 250, I think, now. Yeah, it's like $215 available on the line for these guys. Might not seem like a lot of money, but I mean, any money is good money.
Is it really $250? That doesn't sound right, but
15.
$215, my gosh. Yeah. It's 750,000 Korean won. Is that what you put in?
Oh, no, 300,000, sorry.
Oh, that's the all-kill prize.
Oh, sorry, what did you want? 700,000?
750,000.
That's... Oh, 750, that would be like 540.
540 bucks. Okay, so 540 bucks split 3 ways. Again, it's not a huge amount of money, but it is something here for these streamers, for these contenders. Probably it means more to some of these other players, like for example Mini, who doesn't really have a huge following online, who doesn't have a massive stream, and makes most of his money from playing Brood War professionally. But other players, this is just chump change. They're only here for the fun of it, and it's just the way it is in the modern era.
I mean, yeah, the reality is there's a lot more money to be made from streaming these days, and most of the guys have figured out, hang on a minute, I need to, dip into that pocket, that pot of money, rather than just being exclusively a contender in these tournaments. I also need to have a bit of a fan base, a bit of charisma on stream, and I can make a whole bunch of dollar that way. And they're certainly right. I'm just hoping that Hero can bounce back. I'm just hoping that it's a bit of a glitch in the matrix that we've seen from him lately. But Speed will be a good test of that. Speed, one of the better Terran versus Zerg players out there. Can Hero keep up with this guy who's able to play at such a high... Oh, he's actually going to catch one of the drones that was out on the map to scout. That's a big win for Speed. A very high-level play there from Speed to have his Marines that far out onto the map as well. A lot of Terrans very hesitant to bring their forces out that early, especially with the possibility of Zerglings. But with the SCV scout, could keep track of how much threat there was out there, and able to pick up an easy win by killing that drone.
Yeah, that was a really smart play by him. I'm not sure how he even realized that the drone was gonna be coming back from an angle like that. Generally, when the drone runs out of the main, it just heads directly back home, but he managed to catch that on the way in, and gets back home scot-free as well. This is an interesting build from Speed here. I think we're going to be going into 4 racks afterwards, but he's being very light on Marines to get his Academy and eBay up really, really early. So, I mean, usually you would have seen extra barracks added on by now, I think. I'm not an expert in Terran builds, but what kind of build is Speed actually going for? Is this going to be just a regular 4 racks?
I mean, most likely. That seems to be the most popular build of choice from these modern Terrans. It does allow you to have such a strong map presence against the Mutalisk metagame. And I mean, the reality is that Zergs are just so good with their Muta micro lately that you kind of need that little bit of extra punching power. And there's that 4th barracks, I believe, started from Speed, as we expected. He does need a lot of forces available to him to come out onto the map and actually put some pressure onto the Zerg as early as possible. And I do think that's one of the better ways of playing this matchup in general, getting that 4th barracks out and allowing you to have that map control to stop the Zerg from just staying in the driver's seat all game long.
Yeah, my bad. I thought that this might be something a little bit different, but yeah, my timing's a little bit off there. 4 racks are going to be coming up behind this, and Speed has that +1, has stim on the way, going to be researched here. There is a small bit of weakness for the Terran player with this build, though. Range will be a little late. You can see he's built a lot of early medics here to try and bank up some energy, and so as the Mutalisks fly in, there's a moment where there's only 3 Marines here and a few turrets and no range. That's, I mean, if he can get in at any time, this is the moment to come in and start to punish. But Hero does a quick flyby. He doesn't see any easy way to get some free damage, and so he's just going to poke at the supply depots. This is good for Speed, because as long as he doesn't lose the supply depot here, he's going to come out with a really strong timing with the +1 finishing and range just about done.
Yeah, I think range just now finished and the +1, so yeah, it should be really strong now for Speed to come out onto the map and threaten the idea of a counterattack were Hero to commit to something like a backstab. So defending by attacking here is the Terran's game plan. And I mean, Hero's got 10 Mutalisks. He needs to start trying to challenge this Bioforce and shaving a little bit off the top. Now got a full stack of 11. Some turrets being made back at home in case the Hero goes for a bit of a trade, as well as those Sunkens. We've seen this a lot lately, and unfortunately for Speed, he's sending his Marines across the map looking for a 3rd base to assault, but there is no 3rd base from Hero, at least for the time being, and that puts him in a bit of a sticky situation. I mean, he needs to be careful here. Hero could just defend with Sunkens back at home while launching massive assault into the main base of Speed, and getting on top of that Terran production line is potentially fatal as well. So this is going to be an interesting game. Hero's committed a lot into these defenses. Now he's also transitioning. This is a very late transition from Hero, so these Mutalisks will have to do a lot of heavy lifting for the time being.
Ooh, I don't really like this for Hero. I mean, I understand the plan there to just build a bunch of sunken colonies and dive, but the moment that it doesn't work, like last time we saw Soma just cancel a bunch of these sunken colonies, retrieve the drones, and then make the transition work. But Hero let them all finish, and now, I mean, he's had to do a bunch of droning, and he doesn't have a 3rd base even still. At this point in the game, still not throwing that down here and just trying to fly around, look for some damage with these mutas. He's actually doing a good job of rotating around these bridges and forcing Speed into some awkward positions, but I'm not sure how well this follow-up is going to do against Speed, who's just been powering up like crazy. And here with no 3rd base is really going to struggle.
Right. Well, I mean, he's going to try and take that 3rd now, but you're right. The only thing is to play devil's advocate for Hero here, the factory timing is pretty late. So he just has to survive against a possible bio break from Speed being too much of an issue. Then it won't matter that his transition is as slow as it is. It's mainly this Bible that's going to be an active threat. The vessels will be a little bit delayed in laying siege to the Zerg, so maybe he'll be okay with this slower transitional timing. It is a bit awkward that this 3rd gas is going to be so heavily set back in this game, though. Hero needs to find some kind of compensation. Catching these Marines out of position with some Mutaling or something would be great, but the Bible has already gotten sizable enough that it's not going to be so easy to control anymore.
Yeah, that bio ball is just about to get reinforced, and now it's kind of impossible to beat with just pure Mutaling. Like, you're just not going to beat that bio ball. That much firepower is a little bit too much to handle, so Hero's gonna just get behind that, make sure no more units come up here. He's actually got lurker as well, so Speed cannot just break in, and he's not going to be able to get down here to bottom left either. Let's see how Speed wants to play this out, though. Will he, now that he's been kind of blocked from dealing any damage with the bio, will he go just into pure vessel, or are we going to see a kind of a mad switch into drops immediately once these starports are done?
Well, I mean, that supply block is actually quite nice from Hero. He's also going to very quickly set up a nice canal so we can transfer drones to the bottom left. Nice catch up from Hero as well, catching some of those Marines out of position. And that supply block will make it harder for Speed to get the vessel count right away that he needs to run away with this game. And, well, that's a mistake from Hero. I don't know why he's transferring his drones rather than waiting for the Nidus canal to finish. Your drones are going to get there after the canal finishes, so why not just wait for the canal to finish and then send them through the tunnel, Hero? I'm a little bit confused about that decision, but it is what it is. I guess he doesn't want to have to focus on the APM required to do that and wants to get the mining while he's focused on his muta control. As you can see, the Nidus canal finished before the drones even got there, but it means he doesn't have to pay attention and can just look at his mutalisks for this time being. Vessel's now finally out, a little bit delayed because of that supply block like we were talking about. Now there's a moment for Speed to really put the pressure on and come and lay siege to Hero, but maybe the vessel count is slow enough that there won't be enough irradiates to chew through the lurker line, and Hero will get that consume upgrade finished.
Oh, Hero doesn't have an overlord over this lurker, so I mean he's gonna lose one at least. That Defiler is also in a bit of a precarious position. Not going to go for the irradiate on the Defiler, though. He's instead just going to try and push the issue here. So many Marines are going to die, and there's even a Dark Swarm here. Is he really just going to keep pushing this? Crazy Speed. What are you doing, man? Just, I mean, once the Dark Swarm is there, it's over. Oh, flying right through with the mutas is a little bit sad for Hero, but he just took an amazing trade.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking pretty good for Hero now. I think he's kind of avoided disaster in this game, and he's even got some lurkers and Scourge in the main base to be on counter dropship duty. There's that fast third base from Speed to try and keep on curve with the Zerg. This is the point where you need to double expand, so he's taking the 3 o'clock on location while making a CC to float to that mineral only spot as well. That's exactly what you need to do when you failed in your mid-game timing to put the Zerg on the back foot like this, but this is exactly what the Zerg wants. He wants to transition into just getting a 4th gas online and starting an attritional warfare with you, and usually the Zerg comes out on top unless you can find a hole in their defenses to exploit in the way of those dropship gambles. You can see there's a couple of dropships made there, but look at the setup from Hero. Lots of anti-drop in the main base with that Ultralisk Cavern on the way. He is losing more and more lurkers at the ramp of this bottom left base. Maybe if Speed had enough irradiates available to him, he could chew through those defensive lines, distract Hero into overcommitting his defense to that ramp, slowing down the 4th gas, then launching 4 dropships into the main base. Could be a good 1-2 punch to finish Hero off here. Let's see if he can figure something out.
All right, Boxer. He's going to run into the main base there with one single Marine. Not going to really get too much going. It's kind of a sneaky move, though. Speed, 4 drops heading towards this main base. Hero is so ready for this, though. I can't imagine it really doing much damage. Let's see if we can come in with the vessels at the same time. Maybe get some really key irradiates to prevent Hero's smooth defense here. Gonna go ahead and drop immediately. One drop goes down, second drop falls. A lot of those units just got denied, but still enough is in here to create a pretty serious threat, and there's no Defiler as well, so the lurkers will be gunned down. He can go back, pick up another round of units, but his army is actually running into the natural, dying to the sunken colony. He's actually starting to push through a little bit here. He's getting it. Oh my gosh, he got the Ultralisk Cavern, and he's going after these drones. This is just Speed in a nutshell. He is so crazy, hitting both places at the same time and killing so many drones here as well.
Oh, he's ravaging those drones. Hero not on top of his task switching. Couldn't get the drones through the safety of that Nidus canal. He's trying to take that 4th base at long last, but Speed starting to punch through a little bit here. Luckily, there's a Defiler with some Dark Swarm clouds preventing some follow-up damage from Speed, but he's got the 4 bases starting to be established now. Mining at the mineral only hasn't yet started taking the gas at that 3 o'clock base. I imagine he's going to build that in just a second here. There it goes now. He's going to really start to ramp up his own production, trying to apply as much pressure to Hero as possible before that 4th gas becomes relevant for Hero. There's still a way of making this work. It's only when that 4th gas is online that Terran starts to get into a world of hurt here, and it will be a little bit of time before that +2 Carapace and Chitinous plating finishes up for the Zerg as well. So still some room to breathe, some room to maneuver here for Speed in this game, and he's certainly capable of microing on multiple fronts to really put the pressure on the Hero. A bit of a counter attack though at the 3 o'clock base. There's nothing here to defend that, so we'll be shutting down that gas income from Speed.
Bunch of irradiates going down here. He's going to irradiate almost everything, and he's actually got a lot of fire bats to work with as well. Drop heading into the main base. Scourge are going to lock onto that rare moment where the Scourge actually do their job without even being told to. Only 1-1 is done here for these Ultras, and that's a lot of fire bats. Oh, he gets the Nidus. Great Plague, though. The Nidus goes down. Still a Nidus up in the main base, though, down at bottom left.
Yeah, I mean, that Plague was beautiful enough to kind of compensate for that. I think Speed might be in a little bit of trouble if he can't do some damage right here, right now. There is no energy. He kills the Lurker just in time. Firebat underneath the cloud as well. Helps kill that Nidus canal. Rotates around to the gas. More consumes being taken now. Trying to stop these Marines. Killing too many of these precious drones. Speed doing pretty good at multitasking and getting some damage done, but it's not enough to stop Hero from potentially running away with this game. He will now start to mine from all 4 of those gas geysers. 300 gas a minute from all 4. That's insane. That's 1,200 gas a minute. 6 Ultralisks a minute that he could possibly make. That's going to be so much pressure coming Speed's way in just a moment.
Really good Plague here as well. Just going to break off a couple of Marines to deal with that. Force that Defiler back. It had been plagued, so wasn't going to be lasting too much longer anyway. We keep getting the Observer here focusing on the double Ultralisk Cavern. He lost his Ultralisk Cavern, so he wanted to get both upgrades at the same time, didn't he? I guess he couldn't afford it, maybe. I'm not sure, because he doesn't have speed yet on these Ultras. Maybe he just completely forgot about that second Ultralisk Cavern.
Yeah, maybe. But usually you only do that when you're super far ahead. Maybe he felt like he wasn't far ahead enough that he couldn't cut on making a Defiler or something, so it slowed down him getting those grades anyway. Yeah, I mean, either way, I think Hero's in a pretty good position here. And with these forward Cheeto dust clouds, will prevent Speed from punishing this 4th gas easily. Might be able to chew through this defensive line if Hero makes a small mistake and, say, doesn't remake a Defiler or something, and then the position becomes over. But he's got so many Ultra Ling that it might not even matter. 4-1 upgrades as well on those. The +1 attack for the Kaiser Blades will help him chew through the Bioforce with just 2 hits from those Ultralisks. And yeah, this is not looking good for Speed. All of those Science Vessels are softened up from the Plague as well. They will die quickly later on. Nice attempt here from Speed to try and get into the natural expansion. Kill some of these Nidus canals. Not a bad play at all. Try and distract Hero. He might not be able to keep up with the threat on both lanes, but he has successfully got more units popping out of these hatcheries to clean up on aisle 5. It's very good effort here from Speed to keep fighting on 2 fronts, but Hero is slowly coming out ahead.
Yes, Hero's slowly clearing all of this out, trying to get a tiny bit of damage speed with like 2 Marines, trying to hold back a waterfall of Zerg play, of Zerg units that are coming his way. He's going to have a few great irradiates here to just kind of soften up these Ultras. It's a little bit unfortunate for Hero. He doesn't have enough Scourge right now. He's just on the edge trying to survive, and he has a few units here in the main that would really be useful at that front as well, but just a little bit too much chaos happening. He's finally stabilized. Is it time for Hero to get aggressive?
I mean, I think it is just about time, Stan, and it could be bad news bears as soon as he does. I mean, he's already starting to establish some pockets of resistance out into the center of the map with some of these dark swarm clouds, keeping Speed a little bit away from the rally point regions, allowing him to break containment here. The quarantine of this siege is starting to fall apart. He's got the majority of his forces making its way to the bottom left, the southern hemisphere of the map, but another counterattack now coming out from here. The mineral only going to be ravaging that, disrupting the mining flow of the Terran player. Does look low, like Speed maybe could break through it. Has Hero made a mistake? Is there no Defiler on the way? If this is just pure Zergling, actually will lose this fourth hatchery, and suddenly Speed maybe turning the tide enough here. He can also establish mining control back over that mineral only expansion, and another razor trick. Hero maybe starting to fall apart a little bit here, saying it's going to be really tough for him to get some defenses down here. Only the Nidus and the Natural remains. Can he stop this Defiler from establishing control yet again? It doesn't really matter. The fourth base is dead. All of the drones dead as well in the bottom left. Speed fighting back in such a strong way. He's completely flipped the tempo back on Hero at the moment, and Speed is looking phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, there was about 5-6 Ultralists from Hero over at this Natural a moment ago, and we didn't get to catch it on the screen there, but all of them got irradiated, and I think that every single one of them died. So the irradiates here have been absolutely insane. Speed keeping the pressure on with the irradiate on the Ultras, and then killing off the economy. Oh gosh, he gets the Defiler as well. And then killing off the economy with the eraser trick as well. Like these vessels here have done so much work this game, and Hero just hasn't been able to keep up with the Scourge. There it is, GG. He taps out. Speed will go forward to face off against Sulky. All right, guys, final game of the night. Got Speed over here in the bottom left, Sulky top right. And it's on Screaming Sea as well. Oh, this could be a lot of fun, guys. We might see Speed go for a 2-port Wraith and really take Sulky to task. He is just so good with that play. Really a very, very strong player when it comes to Wraith control.
Well, he's walling in the Natural, which seems to suggest that he won't, but that also could just be a mind game. He might do a very strange version of that 2-port Wraith. We'll have to wait and see how this all plays out here. But I just want to quickly say, I got some chills after that last game, man. Like, Speed is like doing a masterclass on Terran vs Zerg 101. Like, one of the best ways you can kill a Zerg that has all the tools set up is by just non-stop siege and just attacking the Zerg for extended periods of time, literally like 2 minutes in a row of just non-stop action, applying pressure to the Zerg, waiting for a few small mistakes to capitalize on. And you could see right at the end of the game, like, he killed a Defiler that was just being finished made in the Natural and was just constantly ramming it down, irradiating Ultras, going for eraser tricks, and really taxing a Hero to the limit. And you have to do that in Terran versus Zerg. You can't just sit back and let the Zerg power up on their full gases. You have to have non-stop siege where you're just constantly throwing things the Zerg's way, asking 1,000 questions of the Zerg until they run out of answers.
He did a fantastic job there. Absolutely pushed Hero to his limit. And that's really where Speed excels, when it gets to just trading over and over again, and he's got this insanely high APM, forcing more and more interactions, just keeping the pressure ramped up. We used to see that majority with his drop play. His drop play just absolutely relentless, but he's really become more of a well-rounded player and strong with just irradiating and hitting with drops, but also keeping all of his vessels alive at the same time. Now he's here being super annoying in the natural. Is he actually going to get this drone? Oh my
So
God,
close.
it's so close.
Yeah,
so
you don't
hard to harass with this SCV. It's kind of crazy.
you don't usually see it. The SCV really has the bump bellies to accomplish that goal. It doesn't have the range advantage as the probe and drone does. Has a little bit of extra HP, obviously. But yeah, with that fusion cutter range like being effectively 0, you have to really be on top of your control to catch a drone or something like that. And a little bit of annoyance here in the main base for Sulky already to withstand. Puts the moral victory and the artificial tempo into Speed's favor. And it is going to be a tech-orientated play as well, just making a very fast factory is Speed behind this. Are we going to be seeing a Valkyrie build, or could this be something more mech-centric?
It could also be a very fast vessel play. Try to get Irradiate out.
Could be
make a
Vulture
Wraith.
drop.
Yeah, it could be a Vulture drop as well. I think you need to go for the 1/1/1 off of one base though to make that work.
No, you're right.
Otherwise, you'll be a little bit too slow. Yeah, I think this could be a vessel rush. I didn't see armory yet. Did you? No, no armory here.
No. I mean, it might be we've seen a lot of Terran.
Okay.
Oh, there it is. Oh, it's just hiding underneath the mini-map there for a second. Yeah, we have seen some Terrans go for that sort of like crazy Terran style, rushing into vessels on this map as well. So it wouldn't be too surprising if he attempted that. But yeah, you're right. I guess you could do a delayed Vulture drop if once the Zerg's already committed their mutas to your side of the field, you then go in. But I mean, yeah, usually you probably won't want to do something like that. It makes sense to just rush into Valkyries or vessels from this position. And let's see how this plays out. I mean, Sulky's not been in the greatest of forms lately, whereas Speed, I mean, after that last game against Hero, he's he's in pretty good shape.
So we're actually gonna have these links get in here.
Oh,
Vultures
no.
are gonna have to be revealed. He's actually gonna go for Vulture speed and just try to do a run by where he at least forces the mutas to turn around for a second. That's kind of the plan here. But Sulky could just build some buildings here at the front and put the pressure on anyway, and I think that's what he's going to do. He doesn't catch the Vultures as they come across the map, but he is gonna wait. Did he not make this? Okay, he's gonna make it now.
He's waiting for the creep. He's waiting for the creep, and then he's making it further back. Yeah, it should be okay here from Sulky. It's not ideal though. You can see he's having to double wall off. I think he was waiting for the creep to spread to somewhere it would never spread to, unfortunately, due to the doodad being there. Instead, going to be losing some lava at the third base. It's a little bit annoying for Sulky to withstand, but not the end of the world either. Usually the Vulture's job is to stop the Zerg from taking that third base to begin with. It's just the fact that he has it is a bit of a win for Sulky. Now applying a little bit of pressure, has a Parascourge in that Mutaflock, wanting to catch this first Valkyrie. So far unsuccessful though.
Yeah, Speed is really good with Valkyrie Micro. He can make them slide, but in a situation like this, okay, he's actually going to get 2 big volleys. That's amazing. That is amazing. I was about to say that usually in situations like this, Speed will just run the Valkyries away. Just don't let the Scourge connect, because you're trying to hit this critical mass, and the only way you end up losing directly here is if you lose your Valkyries. If your Valkyries just keep getting shot down, then eventually the mutas can just kind of overwhelm, kill tons of SCVs. If he just pokes in a little bit, kills a couple of SCVs, but you keep the Valkyries alive, you're still okay. You can afford to lose a couple of workers here and there. On the other side of the map, Sulky losing workers here. He's lost 2-3 workers, plus he lost a bunch of larvae earlier at that hatchery. So these vultures have actually paid for themselves. They did the main task, which was just to slow down the mutas from coming directly across the map. They also forced out some additional buildings at the front there, and they get some drone kills. So this is fantastic. 4 Valkyries now, Shun. 4. He's going to be able to wipe up this air army so quickly. If there's not absolutely perfect splits here from Sulky.
Yeah, these soldiers haven't done critical damage per se, but they've done what they needed to in this game to be effective, and Sulky in a little bit of trouble, even losing a lot of Zerglings, just one single mine. This Vulture could actually slip into the main base, by the way. Oh my gosh, it does. That's insanely annoying. Mutalisks are coming back to defend against that, so it won't be like the end of the world or anything, but it does kind of like, you know, hurt the mentality of Sulky a little bit to constantly be cleaning up this while the Terran player is macroing up back at home. 5 Valkyries now and a bio transition fully underway, ready to move out and take the fight to the Zerg before they fully transition, mind you. There is no lurkers on the way just yet. There is a massive timing for Speed to exploit and probably knock out this third base from Sulky. He's making a few desperation sunkens now. I don't even know if he can hold on to this, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and look at Speed. He's actually got this stacked with an SCV that's trapped somewhere, so that the Valkyries are so stacked, you can't even split your Scourge. You can't split Scourge and try to hit a bunch of Valkyries because they're all going to be sitting right on top of each other. If you try to right-click on this with the Scourge, you're just going to end up hitting one Valkyrie and the other 4 will survive. Lurkers pop out, but they're not in the right spot to block these Marines from coming up the ramp. Lurker's going to try to sneak forward here a little bit. They're actually getting some great kills. Speed has lost the majority of his Marines, and it looks like Sulky just barely holds.
Ooh, yeah, by the skin of his teeth, no less, and that was really close. I think if Speed had like pulled the trigger on just going all the way without slowing down a little bit there in the transition, he probably would have killed Sulky's third base, but he took a little bit of time to actually get there, so Sulky barely got those lurkers into optimal positions to defend against it. Still the pressure is on though. Valkyrie's natural expansion, big volleys, has got a lot of Scourge to connect with them. That's a beautiful slide micro though from Speed. Does start to lose some of the Valkyries regardless though, down to just 3. Sulky might be able to turn this around if he can avoid disaster by taking too much damage from these last remaining Valkyries. If he's got like 1 or 2 Scourge popping out anytime now, that would be great. Has been losing a lot of overlords, but hasn't been supply blocked, so he's kind of avoided disaster here. Sulky's still in this game despite weathering a lot of damage.
Yeah, he absolutely is. That was a great hold. 5 Valkyries is so hard to deal with, but he managed to get the Scourge connections he needed to drop that count down, and Speed just didn't have the bio force to cover for it because of that bust at the third. Now Lurkers are coming forward here, denying this base. The third base has been stopped, and Speed's going to have to look elsewhere. Is it time to go to the island?
It might be. This is looking pretty brutal now for Speed. Getting that third base shut down in quite that fashion is really disastrous. I mean, Defiler Mound is finished. The Zerg will be in full transition mode while getting their 4th gas online. Sulky kind of defending by attacking right now. Is he exposed back at home though? He's trying to sneak some dropships across the map. There is a flock of Mutalisks though, still sharking around for that with some Scourge. Maybe he threads the needle though. Sulky running away from a defensive position. Speed might get a lot of damage done with these 2 dropships. The Mutas are chasing a Vulture or something out on the map, and now this dropship might have a lot more life in it. Scourge are coming in to intercept the dropships, but the Marines still get out regardless. A lot of damage now onto this mineral line will be sustained by Sulky. A lot of Overlords being ravaged as well. Supply blocked currently is the Zerg. Will he be able to get this hatchery as well or something? He needs to stab with Zerglings and Mutas and drones all at once to try and clear this up as cost-effective, but he's not able to do so. The Valkyries providing too much point defense, saying, and these +1 Marines doing enough heavy lifting to really start to cripple the economy of the Zerg.
Ooh, he got the hatchery. Oh my gosh. That was a crazy attack from Speed, but he actually gets the hatchery. There was the same problem there for Sulky. He had enough Scourge to kill both dropships easily, but the drops were so stacked on top of each other, he wasn't able to get the 2 of them. He kind of let all the Scourge connect on the 1, and so now he's lost his natural hatchery. There's a push coming from Speed. This is going to threaten his 3rd base most likely, and he's trying to take a 4th as well, so Sulky is really spreading himself thin. Can he actually stay alive right now? He's being pressured as everything pushes forward here. Defiler gonna run back. Can he get a Dark Swarm? Just barely gets it in time. That was so close.
But it's gonna get irradiated, saying there's nothing else covering that bridge besides some Zerglings right now. He's trying to cover both expansions by defending this bridge, but he doesn't get the Zerglings underneath the Dark Swarm quickly enough. Speed trying to run circles around him, circumnavigating the issue of that bridge entirely, pushing up to the Nidus Canal off the fourth base as well. Takes that out. Sulky in disarray, scrambling for defenses right now, being totally unsuccessful in optimally defending against this. We'll be losing this last remaining hope of that Suncollier mineral line. Some fire bats underneath the Dark Storm as well, preventing a block on that ramp. A lot of problems now for Sulky. This is definitely a big head tilter for him. I think he's in trouble. I think he might have to tap out of this game. This is a lot of damage that Speed is dishing out to him. Just two base Terran, too much for Sulky to handle here. Is trying to establish control over that bridge once again to prevent reinforcements. He's shutting down some of that bioforce, but not before Speed can get down here to that third base as well to knock Sulky back to the Stone Age.
Yeah, I mean, this is just about the end here for Sulky on 57 supply. 2 Defilers come out from this third base as well. That's such a shame. So much gas was just thrown away there, and now that Lurker comes forward, you can tell that Sulky's a little bit tilted at this point. Speed is just another level, man. He's getting in there against all these Zerg players with a lot of high octane plays like that double drop with the Valkyries, getting the damage, and then just pressuring and pressuring and pressuring. I mean, this looks easy to do, but that's just because Speed is such a god. At 450 APM, usually at 500 when he's hitting these builds.
Yeah, I mean, Sulky has got drop tech, so he's taking the 3 o'clock island base right now, but I mean, Terran has got obviously a lot of starports available to him. There's no reason why they can't just load up some dropships here and go and take that out soon. Not sure if he's identified it just yet. He's actually loaded up some Zerglings into an Overlord to go and stop the 6 o'clock island base from Speed from coming online. Maybe they'll give him a way back into this game. I'm not so sure. There seems to be a lot for Speed to throw Sulky way. He hasn't got a lot of vessels though, so maybe with some good Dark Swarms and Lurkers he could outline. But look at this, the Fire Bats doing a lot of heavy lifting underneath those Cheeto dust clouds and easily starting to break through the natural expansion. Forces the 2 coveted letters of GG out from Sulky, and Speed definitely gonna be man of the week here in KCM.
Wow, a godlike performance from Speed this week in KCM, guys. As you can see, Zerg gets another point on the board, stacking up to 9 in the point rankings. They're definitely going to be going into the finals here. It'll be a TVP semifinals as we move towards week 8, final week of the regular season, and then it's time for finals, Shun.
Yeah. It's basically set in stone now, guys, but we'll still have some great games from these gamers in that week 8, so don't sleep on it. Also a good way of getting, a peep show into how these guys might be stacking up for the following rounds of the ASL. This is a great time for them to practice their form. They'll probably be hiding some of their builds and their 100% power level, but still providing us some great games like we saw here today, especially from Speed. The way he dismantled the defenses of Hero and Sulky was just exceptional stuff.
Yeah, for sure. There was times in both of those games when I thought that the Zerg was completely fine and we were going to have a longer game and quite a big macro game, but Speed just kept the pressure on. This guy does not let up, and I really hope we're going to see that level of TVZ from him in this upcoming ASL. He kind of disappointed me last year, Shun, because he was playing like this last year or last season of the KCM.
In the round of 24.
Yeah, and then last season of the ASL, he was doing great. And then in the round of 16, he just kind of fell apart. I hope he's got everything under control this time. I hope that he's got his nerves handled and he's ready to play his absolute best, because that was amazing to watch. I can't wait to see him play against some of these best Zerg players in the world.
Well, absolutely, yeah. The round of 24 ASL season 19 was crazy from Speed. He was running rings around Terran players in that mirror matchup, showing us new ways of playing it that we didn't even think possible. Just insane what he's able to do, task switching on multiple fronts. It's almost like watching someone like Boxer, Nada, and Flash all combined into the same player. It was a real treat to behold. I'm hoping he can have similar performances, not only in KCM, but also that coveted ASL tournament as well. We'll be casting that live Mondays and Tuesdays in the coming weeks, guys, so don't miss that. We do that live on superlive.com/SCTVEN. And if you haven't yet heard or had a chance to check it out, we also have a newly established Patreon page over at Saiyan Jun Duocast. That's SAIYANXUN Duocast. Go show us some love. We have a spoiler-free schedule over there if you just want to sign up for free, but any support you do throw our way is greatly appreciated.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. That's it for this week of KCM. We'll see you tomorrow for the ASL. Link in the description. Go check it out. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.